Sad thing
Well,
is I stuttered in my head.
awkward. He's like, so is
Oh,
it a specific syllable
what? No,
that causes that?
mean, it depends.
I mean, let's talk about it. I feel like Dr. Phil.
Oh,
And we'll be right back.
what's up, guys? Cody here. Before we jump in to this episode, I just wanted to give a shout out to the head cleaner and Ready Safe Survivaltins. This episode, we get to talk about the survival tins, doing a little giveaway. If you're interested, hit us up in the comments, and we will get back with you shortly. We're doing a couple of them as a giveaway. So, hope you enjoy, and let's dive right in.
We're recording already?
He's looking so
Fuck.
hard. He's looking
Oh,
so hard.
I was not ready.
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. Take 3,126.
Oh,
I think that's the number. You don't like the White Claw wasted?
I mean,
They're low calorie. That's why I do it.
so is Miller Lite, but
No, it's not that low a calorie. Neither is Ultra. They're like 96 calories. I'm
these are
trying
100.
to get in Jamaica shape.
Oh, Jamaica shape. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to Jamaica, huh?
Yeah, and I've been doing good. I'm on this diet. Lost like 13 pounds.
Yeah.
I gotta get another 20, 25 off.
Aren't you going in May?
Yeah, we're going
end
the
of
end
May?
of May.
Yeah, the end of May. Yeah.
Into May to Jamaica.
That shouldn't be hard to do.
I mean,
Well, I mean, you lost 13 pounds in like
I know,
a week
but
and
I'm
a half.
starving myself. Like, I walk by food and smell it, and I'm like, God, that
Just try that
looks so
carnivore
good.
diet.
I'd like to, but I can't do that. My old lady's got that alpha gal.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, if I do carnivore, I'm carnivore and chicken. Wow,
Why
that's
is this-
great.
It's not bad,
It's not. The black cherries are killer.
but it's like,
It's a total chick
it's a
drink.
sparkling
I just
water.
put it in a manly koozie, and then nobody knows that I'm drinking girl drinks.
Oh, boy. Welcome back.
Hey, yeah, we're back.
We don't have any special guests this time. He bailed.
He bailed on us.
No.
Thanks, Jake
Thanks, Jake.
from State Farm.
I was, goddamn it, you beat me to the punch.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis.
Yeah, but he couldn't be here.
Yeah, he had some
stuff
work
to
shit
do.
coming up. And you know what? He's like, I'm going to be gone all day tomorrow. So I was telling my old lady about it. I was like, I don't think he wanted to be on the show. And she's like, well, he's going with your grandpa and your dad tomorrow. This is what's horse shit. I
Oh.
wasn't invited.
Oh, what are they doing?
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to, it might be in Claymore, Oklahoma, that fucking fishing and hunting, that fishing and gun show fucking thing down there. That I think they do
In
with like
Claremore?
that Bassmaster thing they have down there, I think.
Shut up.
I'm pretty sure. It's some
And
kind
you
of.
didn't get the
And I
invite.
didn't fuck. Well, see, last time they went, if it's the same thing I'm thinking about, I was working for Midco at the time,
You're not the favorite kid. is
and
what
I was
you're saying.
working on my grandpa's favorite. He knows. He'll admit it. We were working in Claymore, Oklahoma, and it's actually, I think it's in Tulsa. But I was in Claymore, which is like 30 minutes from Tulsa,
Right.
and they were going to that Bassmaster fucking thing down there. It's a big old event ordeal.
Right.
And I was like, well, if I get time, I'll swing in there. Well, it's like, you get to see the guys come up in the boats and shit.
Oh,
with the
really?
Trucks and, oh, yeah, it's like a whole Bassmaster thing. If
That's
it's
cool.
the same thing I'm thinking about.
Right.
I didn't know it was a fucking gun show.
Oh, I didn't either.
Like, I'm
mean,
Googling it right now.
I was going to say, because Wanamaker, if that's what you're talking about, Wanamaker's in October and in May. It's the largest gun show in the United States. It is the epitome of gun shows. Like, you go to a normal gun show and you're talking 1,000 tables. Wanamaker has like 10,000.
It's not this, is it?
It's a convention center like nothing you've ever. They race monster trucks in the building.
Yeah.
Where they have this gun show.
Really?
Oh, dude, and it's wall to wall. You literally, the last time I was down there, if you had the money and the way to get it back to wherever you lived, you could buy an armored personnel carrier for
Why
a
are you
mere
not loading?
$35,000.
There we go. Is it this fucking thing?
I don't know. Hey, speaking of which,
Yeah, it is. So it's in Pryor, Oklahoma.
in Pryor, that's where they do Rocklahoma. What is it?
Day 1 Bassmaster Classic at Wolf Creek Park in Grand Lake Grove, Oklahoma. Blast off tomorrow morning at 7:15. That was 11 hours ago.
Nice.
So that's what they're doing.
But they have a gun show too?
Let's see. So here's the thing.
Pryor's, what I'm saying is,
it's at Grand Lake in Tulsa.
Pryor's not that far to drive to.
It says
and I like guns.
It says they got food. Bring in the brew. They got breweries and shit.
Huh.
And then says Easter egg hunt. No one gives a shit about that.
I mean, I like Easter eggs. I always pick ours.
Of fun. That's tomorrow evening. I don't know what the hell but it's a Bassmaster Classic kickoff.
Nice.
There's outside takeoffs with weigh-in shows. Outdoor expo presented by GSM Outdoors. So it's like an outdoor expo.
Huh.
So probably got guns, fish, and shit.
Outfitters.
Outdoors. We didn't fucking get them.
Wow. Way to drop the ball, guys.
Yeah. They're only
we
going.
could have brought the podcast to them.
They're only going just because of the fact there's a Taco Tico in Claremore.
I mean, I would go for Taco Tico. I would drive all the way to Claremore, Oklahoma for no other reason but to go through the drive-thru at Taco Tico and come home.
I would go inside.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Because I'm going to have to shit right after.
But the benefit of going to Taco Tico is trying to eat it in your car and not get it all over you.
Yeah, that's not going to
like, there's nothing better than walking around with a bunch of combo burritos.
In your gut?
In your gut, thinking this is going to blow up at any second.
Yeah. That's fucking terrible. Taco Tico's worse than Taco Bell. If you don't know what Taco Tico is, it's is it just
research.
a Southeast Kansas thing? Well, no,
because
there's a couple in Oklahoma that I've been to.
It used to be huge. I mean, we had one here in town. Now the only one I know of that I go by a lot is in El Dorado.
Really?
On the way to Wichita, they have a brand new Taco Tico in El Dorado.
Yeah, I stopped there and ate that one time. Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And then it's not that it's that great, and it's not that it's the best Mexican food you'll ever eat in your whole life. It's a
I wouldn't even consider it Mexican food.
Me either. It's worse than Taco Bell
as
far as a franchise, but we grew up with it.
Oh yeah,
and it was a staple.
God, back in the day, you could go in there for $5.
Oh, and pig out
and shit.
This is why I'm fat.
You could literally eat Taco Tico before a colonoscopy.
Oh yeah, because it would do just like the cleanse stuff that they give you for a colonoscopy. Yeah. It was violent. It was violent.
Well, stupid. Worth it.
Stupid. Worth it.
That was you shit. And then the taco sauces were good. They had.
Oh, I love their taco sauce. Yeah. And you can buy it by the gallon off the internet.
Yeah, you can order their meat to your house.
Brandon and Brandy Pitts.
Yeah.
Don't ever have to worry about going to their house and having tacos because they always have a gallon of Taco Tico salsa.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I love it. Before I forget, we're still
waiting for the comments. And Hayden,
2 of the Ready Safe Survivaltins, and I'm just gonna say now, I thought about it and I didn't. One of the people that comments and gets one of these is gonna get that O-Light.
Oh yeah,
it's in here. I put it. I was gonna take it and be that guy, and I didn't. I put it back in here. So I don't know which one is which. But somebody is going to get the one with the O-Light in it. And the O-Light is cool. I played with it this week and checked it all out. It's super bright for a little keychain. Works really good. The magnet's super strong, so it holds it in there. I had to mess around with it just to see if it's really worth the hype. If I want one, I'll buy one.
Yeah.
But I was like, something about a keychain with only a magnet holding it in, I was like, that's never going to last. I carried it for a full day, put it in my pocket, took it in and took my keys in and out, never come off. So
let's go back through our DMs to see if there's anything in there we're talking about. But
that's a pretty good.
But that's a bad place to go sometimes.
Oh wow, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. People start talking about how I look 60, and
no, I was just saying like some of it was political. Which we don't talk about that.
Oh, comments,
and then like,
and if nobody's noticed, I just gotta say,
oh for fuck's sake,
he took the beard off. He looks a little bit younger. And a little more round in the cheek area. And it's taken me a while to get used to. But it doesn't look bad. It was just different. You walked in this morning, and I looked at you, and I was like, oh, my God. You what?
I said I fucked up. You know, when we were getting stuff set up, and I had my phone sitting here, and it was playing that same 911 video about the lady being attacked by the bear. That's all my fucking TikTok feed is now, is 911 calls.
Oh, nuh-uh.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
No more half nude girls.
Do you
It's all 911 calls.
Did you listen to the one where the guy's like, he's like, he calls 911, and it might be a skit, I don't know. He calls 911, and she's like, "Sir, can I help you?" And he's like, "Yeah, somebody being tied up in his basement." And
No.
he said that he forgot the safe word.
Oh my
I'll
God.
have to try to find it. But he's like, he forgot the safe word, and he had something stuck in his ass, and
No, I saw one the other day where a guy was at the gas pump.
yeah.
And this guy walks up to him and he goes, "Sir," he said, "I have a question for you." He's like, "Okay." He said, "If somebody was to break in your house right now and harm your family, what would you do?" He said, "I'd call 811.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
got real quiet and the guy goes, "Don't you mean 911? He goes, "No, 811, because I need to know where to dig."
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, true story.
Right?
Come in my house, you're going to need, only thing you're going to need is a hole in the ground.
Oh. Was that what?
Oh, yeah. Not that kind of hole.
I mean, depends what kind of party we're having. Is there a pineapple hanging upside
True
down
story.
on the door?
True story. No, we have no pineapples. We don't even like
Pull your
pineapple.
microphone a little bit farther from your mouth.
Pull it away from my mouth?
Yeah.
Or don't go like this?
Like right
How about
there.
that?
There you go. There you
That
go.
too close?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was because I had it sitting here, and it was fucking playing that one video, and
Yeah.
you thought someone was talking.
Yeah.
And I scrolled like 4 times, and it was all just 911 calls.
Oh, Lord.
I'm like, for fuck's sake, that's
That'll
terrible.
take a month to get that algorithm going.
No shit, right?
I mean, that's if TikTok even survives.
Oh fuck. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that last week.
Not
did we?
really, I don't think.
I don't remember.
I mean, I don't care. Either way, if TikTok goes away or whatever, it doesn't affect me at the end of the day, but it does seem kind of shady that they could do that.
Well, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, but I mean, why not Facebook? Why not Instagram? Instagram shows
Because
you can literally watch people die on Instagram.
the thing is, and saying this in the correct way, is
It's not owned by China, though.
No. It's because Facebook, which owns Instagram and Snapchat,
Do they really own Snapchat too?
Meta owns it, which is also Meta's Facebook and Meta's Instagram.
Right, I knew Meta was
Um,
Facebook and Instagram, but I didn't know TikTok was as
because
well.
I think Snapchat kind of fell into that same category there for a while. With what I'm about to say is, from what I've researched after you sent me that TikTok video,
Right.
TikTok doesn't follow rules very well.
Oh, okay.
So
Certain things that aren't.
certain let's just say what the fuck's the dude at Zuckerberg likes to be? He's very political.
Oh,
Likes to follow rules.
Okay.
So TikTok does not. So I think Snapchat was that way for a while, and then next thing you know, Meta purchased it.
Oh.
And so, do I see TikTok going away? Okay, here's
No.
TikTok is literally Vine 2.0. I don't know if you remember Vine.
I do remember the Vine videos.
It's the same thing.
It is.
And Vine got shut down, and I don't know for what reason. I don't know if it got shut down or it shut down.
I think it just went away because nobody used it anymore.
And because then TikTok came out.
Right.
And then
Kind of like MySpace. MySpace just kind of fell off the map, even though I think it's still there.
it's still there. It's
just
still
kind
a
of-
website.
It still just kind of fell off the map when Facebook came around.
Yeah. And
I wish I could remember my sign in.
I've signed into mine before, and there's not a lot left. Like if you sign in and go to your profile, it doesn't have all the cool shit anymore.
It doesn't?
No, it's all gone.
Mine had such a cool soundtrack.
It'll show you your top friends as
background.
long as their accounts didn't get taken down.
I think we talked about this last week too, because remember Tom? Tom was like your first
Oh
friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think TikTok's problem is one, it's like 20% employee owned.
Right.
2, it's like 40 or something, 49% American owned. And then the rest is like other outside sources.
Right.
So it can't be taken down for that reason because it's not
It's
American
like an ESOP.
owned. Yeah. But also from what I've researched is they're not following certain guidelines and rules and
I mean, I don't know what kind of guidelines they're supposed to follow, but
yeah.
obviously Instagram ain't following
That's
some
why
of them guidelines.
that's why the government hates Twitter because of Elon Musk.
Well, I mean, I got to be totally honest. That's the
you see his
ultimate.
rocket ship blew up?
No.
Look up on your phone his fucking
Whoa, 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 whoa,
yeah
whoa.
his
What?
that rocket ship
SpaceX rocket ship?
well he launched another one that
Really?
it's fucking cool. Look it up on your phone.
Okay, I got to look it up.
Yeah, it fucking explodes. They tried saying something to do with like water or some shit. It was like build
Really?
up of something, and dude, you just watch it just explode. I watched it the other day when I was at home. Tell me how that motherfucker can go to space.
Because
like-
he's stupid rich.
Well, you know he's really
Starship
not,
explosion video. Elon Musk rocket explodes.
though. Yeah, but you know he's really not that rich. I mean, okay, like
Come on now.
if you think about it, he's not like he's rich, but he's not financially rich. He is business assets rich.
Oh yeah, the
Like,
dude's
He's
worth.
just not like Jeff Bezos. I mean, like
I
Jeff
think
Bezos has money.
I mean, I gotta think Elon Musk walks around with some serious fuck you cash in his pocket.
I mean, dude, he literally lived on a couch in Tesla's office for like a year.
Yeah, because he doesn't need anything.
He also got divorced.
Oh yeah, true.
Did you see they're building Tesla homes?
No.
Yeah.
Electric homes.
No, like they're houses you can purchase for like I think they said like $20,000, and they're
Really?
like a little bit bigger than the shagging cabin here.
Really? The shagging cabin.
Yeah, but it comes like fully done.
There's no shagging goes
Like
on in
basically, you just hook it up to water and electric.
here. Sorry, I'm kind of nerding out because I'm watching this rocket.
Did it explode yet?
Not yet.
Does it have the black tip on it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was racist.
Okay, you sound like my fucking daughter. I'm sure your son says the same
All
thing.
the time. All the time.
For anyone watching, if you have kids that are like middle school and younger,
You know exactly what we're talking
and
about.
you know what we're talking about, they don't even know what the word racist means.
They don't. And no matter what you say, they're like, "Wow, that was racist."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, it's not. Nothing about get in there and clean the dishwasher out is racist."
Why would you talk about their mom that way?
Oh wow.
Oh,
I
that's hilarious.
actually did make my kid clean the dishwasher out today when he got home from school.
You say clean it out like he had to empty it.
Yeah, empty the
Okay.
dishwasher.
I thought you meant like getting there.
No,
and take a filter
I
and
give him
shit
a
out.
toothbrush. I'm like, scrub this. No, he had to
You
empty
fucking
it
in
out.
there and do your job.
It was one of them. I was like, oh, yep, there she went.
Yeah.
Man, I wonder how many billions of dollars he just blew up right there. I just like to
You
have
think
the
he's got
money.
insurance?
Yeah,
Hey,
that dude's
Jacob
got
State Farm?
Geico.
Yeah.
My thing is like, there's
What
so
was on the rocket ship?
I don't know, but there's so much money there.
Yeah.
I'd like to have just the money they spent in fuel.
Oh fuck.
Think about that.
Did
Just
that
the money
video
it cost.
Did that video slow it down?
Yeah, it's
Like slow moing it?
yeah. Whoa.
And you can see the rockets, like you can see the thrusters fucking going in like slow mo, and then you just watch it explode.
Yeah.
Dude, it like disintegrates.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts.
Yeah. So I mean, you talk about money.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to know what the budget is just for fuel, because that's not normal fuel. That's rocket fuel. And as much as gas is a gallon right now,
See.
I can only
How much fuel does rocket use? Go to space.
you know that's got to be insane.
A liftoff, the two solid rocket boosters consume 11,000 pounds of fuel per second.
11,000.
That's 2 million times the rate at which fuel is burned by the average family car.
2 million times. And all these activists and weirdos are worried about car emissions hurting
The
the
amount
ozone.
of fuel required to reach the moon depends a great deal on the spaceship design. Oh, controversial moment for context. Saturn V rocket for Apollo 1967, that never went to the moon. It used about 950,000 gallons in 4 stages to get to the moon.
950,000 gallons. I
Let's
could
see.
probably drive my old pickup for the rest of my life and never use 950,000 gallons.
How much is a gallon of jet fuel? This says as of May 2023. Okay. For example, in May 11. Okay.
Like, that's ridiculous.
What is the current price of jet fuel? $6.48 per gallon.
$6.48 per gallon times 900,000 gallons.
So 648 times 950,000 gallons is 6.156 mil.
Yeah, sign me up.
That's to go to the moon.
Sign me up. That's all I want.
You
I
gotta
just
think
want
how
the
much
money.
just went in that fucking
Yeah,
rocket
all
ship.
I want is the money that they spent on fuel. I'd be fine. Never have to work again. I'd be a smart dude with my money.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I was on Google. So if you want to fucking yell at me this time for getting my numbers
yell
wrong,
at him. Yell at him. Get all over
I went
him.
to Google.
But I mean, that's why that was a legitimate statement.
Yeah.
I would be okay with having the money that they spent on fuel.
Right?
So then you figure in all the money they spend on engineering and the time and all of the people that they're paying to build this rocket.
Oh, here we go.
Can you imagine, even fathom the amount of money that got wasted by shooting a giant dildo into space? Like, I don't get it.
How much was Elon's rocket that blew up?
What are we gaining by going to space all the time? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I know they launch satellites, and those are handy and all, but like, what are we trying to accomplish? We don't currently have.
You know, in April 21st, 2023, Elon lost $13 billion.
$13 billion?
Okay, so the company Falcon 9's rocket. Okay, so how much did SpaceX rocket cost? The company Falcon 9's rocket cost around $62 million to carry a payload of around 55,000 pounds. That is about a sixth of the potential maximum of the payload. Musk estimates that it would cost as little as $10 million per launch within a few years. That was March 14th.
$10 million.
So he could cut the budget to $10 million if it didn't explode. But
$10 million a launch.
Mhm.
$10 million's just not that. That's not pocket change.
Elon Musk loses $13 billion in 24 hours after SpaceX rocket explosion and disappointing Tesla earnings. That was April 21st of last year. That was like a year ago. He lost
Wow.
$13 billion.
Wow.
Didn't that when he took his company and made it fucking like he opened up stocks and shit?
Yeah, he
in it?
went public.
He went public and lost a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, I think so.
And then bought Twitter for 40. There was like 400 million or some stupid shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's rented in the ground.
That's some serious FU money.
Right? It's like Jimmy Buffett or whatever the fuck his name was. Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Sorry.
Jimmy Buffett saying cheeseburger in paradise.
He's dead. But
yeah, that's a sad deal.
I mean, he had that coming, I guess. He's old.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
I mean, he did drink a lot of margaritas.
He had a bar.
Margaritaville.
I've never been to one of his bars.
Oh, yeah. I went to one. I went to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville in the Bahamas. I went to one at Lake of the Ozarks. The old Tantera Resort is now Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Really?
Well, yeah, we took the kids and stayed down there, and they got like an indoor water park, and it's super cool. Yeah. But Jimmy Buffett's got Margaritavilles everywhere.
Has one of those too.
Where?
I tried not to stutter before you kept talking. You said we took the kids to an indoor water park. I went to say my lady has one of those too, but it was my lady.
Well,
sad thing is I stuttered in my head.
Awkward. He's like, So is it a specific syllable?
What? No,
causes that?
I mean, it depends.
I mean, let's talk about it. I feel like Dr. Phil.
Oh,
and we'll be right back.
Cue the weird music. Get me outside. How about that? You know, that bitch is famous now, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a certain syllable. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's letters. Also depends. Like if I'm telling a story, why do you just stare like a?
But because I'm curious.
I mean, like, well, you have a nephew that does it or did it.
No, cousin.
Or cousin. Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of them. It's inquiring minds want to know.
No one gives a fuck about stuttering people.
I mean, really, yeah. It's not like it's something you can help.
No, speech therapy doesn't fucking work, ladies and gentlemen.
But I mean,
it's
that,
or I'm just too dumb to realize
something that not everybody deals with, and it's kind of one of them.
Heard if you do mushrooms, it goes away. What Sean Ryan said.
I mean, I've thought about it.
I know, I've thought about it too.
just because they make it sound.
But I mean, like, is that just like doing actual, like, if we just went and got mushrooms right now? Or is it one of those you have to, like, go to that place?
I
And,
mean,
like,
they have them at G&W. You can saute and put them on your steak. I don't know if you're gonna see much, but
no, I'm talking like mushrooms.
oh, like tripping shrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I've never. I can honestly say I've never been brave enough to try any of that crap.
If you do that, then go back to work and fail a UA, like, you get fired
I don't know.
if it's medically done.
Ooh, well, that's a good question.
This is how fucking ADHD works.
Yeah,
Because that just popped into my brain.
that is a
like,
good question. So if you, I mean, granted, there's a lot of companies. If you get caught with recreational drugs in your system, you're done. And understandably so, because they've been illegal all this time. But if you get a medical excuse to go do it, I don't know how that works. Maybe you have to stay away from your job until it's out of your system.
But I mean, so
Because it's not legal in the United States, I don't think.
no,
I
not
think
yet.
in Oregon they decriminalized it,
Yeah.
but I don't think shrooms are legal in the United States. Did you see where Oregon passed that deal where they're going to pull all them regulations? I was watching it on Joe Rogan the other night. So Oregon did that whole deal where they were like, all drugs are fine. Just do drugs.
Yeah, I think Oregon tried to legalize cocaine.
They tried to legalize everything. Well, then it wasn't till
Don't legalize meth. Fuck that.
yeah, that stuff's the devil. But then they pulled it. Now they're back in court, back in the works, trying to get it all taken off there. They're like, this was a bad idea. Well, no shit.
Well, I mean, here's my
Like people
thing.
are packing up and running from Washington and Oregon because it's such a shit show right now. And
Yeah,
not a good
pretty
one
much-
like
I
this
mean,
one.
like, pretty much everywhere is a shit show when it comes to drugs.
I know. I don't get it. Like with the shrooms and the weed and all that stuff, it comes from the earth.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not
technically
convinced
cocaine
it's a
does,
bad
too.
deal. I don't know much about it. I don't do it personally, but I can't see any bad about it. There's a lot of benefits. In the same breath,
You have to line them up.
I do.
I do it too.
I have to line the label back up so it's not messed up. But no, I mean, if you got to cook it or you got to manufacture it, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Like I have seen meth ruin
Oh fuck.
good people. No, but I mean,
No, it did for a little bit.
my ex-brother-in-law
Yeah.
was probably the best carpenter you'll ever meet in your whole life. Dude, I framed houses with him.
Yeah.
This guy could pick up a set of blueprints, skim through them once, never have to pick them up again, and build a house. He found out that he had degenerative hip disease and had to have a hip replaced at like 40 years old. This POS so-called friend of his, he's like, hey, this will help with the pain. Gave him meth. He is a shell of the human he used to be.
No,
what am I looking at here?
I will honestly say meth will I mean, it doesn't I don't think it takes away so much the pain. It just makes you numb to everything because it's a chemical imbalance in your brain. Obviously, because the chemicals that are in it. But like it makes you fucking it fucking makes you not feel anything. Like you see those movies. Like,
this is a good conversation to have because you have been there
had the experience
and came back from the dark side.
Oh yeah.
That's my biggest thing.
So
you watch. Let me get this thought out, and then you tell me where I'm wrong or right.
Hmm.
So back in the day, Cheech and Chong made weed funny.
Oh yeah.
They made it cool.
And like How High the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to smoke weed.
Oh yeah.
Then you got Hollywood as a whole
The Godfather.
made cocaine
The thing.
popular.
Yeah.
And then, you just see people doing
Pablo
Who-
Escobar made that a thing.
yeah,
but
exactly, right? And I bet, but who in their right mind was driving down the road and seen some dude walking the sidewalk trying to lick his own freaking ear and twitching like a crack baby in a cold dumpster and thought, God, I want to try that. Like, I just don't get it with meth.
So, okay. Um, for me, I've gone through excruciating injuries.
Right,
I've had surgeries on both knees.
right,
I got smashed by the forks off of a bobcat that hit me in the face and pinned me to the ground. Should have died.
right.
Crushed my chest in, made my spine crooked. Like, literally, if I stand up straight, you'll notice this shoulder sits down below this shoulder. I've been going to a chiropractor to me is the most painful thing on the planet. Um, they can't fix it. I mean, it's just broken.
Right.
So pain pills were a thing. Well, then, um, driving on the road and working excruciating jobs, like
Yeah,
you did
yeah.
concrete work. The pain just comes with it. Well, you get to working around certain people, and they're like, "Oh, just try this." And then, like, I can tell you, first time I ever did cocaine, I was at a party, and they're like, I was starting to get drunk, and this guy's like, "Oh, just take this, and you'll be fine." Well, I did it. Well, then cocaine for me was never a. I could have tried it once and quit it, and I did. Like, I tried it that one night, and then I was told what it was. I was like, "Oh shit," and I just didn't do it
Not doing
anymore.
that again. Right.
Well, then it was one of those things like went to a Casey Donahue concert and fucking Buffalo Run, and some people that we were down there with were like, "Hey, we know this guy. Can you get some stuff and bring it down here to us?" And I'm like, "What is it?" And they told me, and I was like, "Sure, I don't give a shit. I mean, I'll bring it to you." Well, did it a bunch that night. Partied my fucking ass off. I mean,
Right.
spent like $400 on alcohol and wasn't drunk until I sat down. But then it just led into that. Well, then I was working with a couple people
So it
that,
started off as a recreational deal.
yeah, most drugs start off that way. And like, you're just doing it to like blend in or have fun, like,
Right.
and then when it came, so then I started working with a couple people, and they knew what I was doing, obviously, because I didn't fucking care. If I trusted you, I just didn't care. And worked with a guy, and he's like, "Have you ever tried meth?" I was like, "No." Actually, I wasn't working with a guy. I knew a guy, and he's like, "Have you ever tried meth? It's cheaper." I was like, "No, I don't want that." He was like, "Here, just do you know who you can get it from?" I was like, "I think I know a few people I could call and ask." He's like, "Well, here's $100. That's all you're gonna need. Just spend all $100 on it." Now, I want you to know something. Drugs in every county, state, whatever, they're all different prices,
Right.
like, cause different qualities. You
Right.
you go to Florida and get cocaine, it's gonna be expensive because it's more pure. You get cocaine in fucking Kansas, and it's meh. I mean,
It
you
gives
know,
you the poops
yeah.
because it's cut with baby laxatives.
Or
So I
well,
hear.
I don't think they use that much anymore. Now it's just cut with fentanyl.
Yeah.
But that shit
Oh,
put
it's
me.
so bad.
Shit put me in. I pretty much died. Um, but we'll get to that point. Um, so bought some. Now, granted, you could buy around here. You could buy like an 8 ball of cocaine for like 150, $180. Sometimes cheaper if you got in good with people
Right.
and you got a discount. You can get a lot of meth for $100. And this was also fuck 5 years ago. And when I first started buying, like when I was buying this shit, and the first time I did it, I smoked it, and I hated it because I did it. I took 2 hits off of it, and it instantly my teeth just the it was like every tooth in my mouth had a fucking toothache.
Like chewing on a something metal.
It was like when you take a bowl of ice cream and just bite that motherfucker, and it just rings.
Oh
And I
no.
was like, I don't like that. I was like, no, I don't like that. Now the feeling I got after that pain went away, you you fucking feel like literally you feel alive. Like with cocaine, you do like a hit of it, like a bump of it,
Right.
and you're just like, woo, and then you fucking go party. I mean, cocaine is the reason why it's a Hollywood drug. It's a party drug.
Right.
If you get to be too drunk or you're cocaine to me was it was a mood drug. If you were in a great mood and you did a line of cocaine, you were in a better mood.
Really.
Now, if you were having a shit day and you hit a line of cocaine, you're in your head for at least an hour. Like you're overthinking.
Really.
You become, and that's and I mean it was always if I was in a good mood and I was doing it, I was having fun. And then meth was one of those things I found out you could snort it like you could cocaine. And I'm like, okay. Granted, it will burn. I have proof. It will burn your, your nasal cavities down into your esophagus. It will eat holes because the chemicals that are in it.
Really?
Well, it's got fucking what's that formaldehyde bullshit in there,
No,
or ammonia
anhydrous.
anhydrous. Yeah, it's got that shit in there and a bunch of other. I've never made it, but it just eats away at skin like internally because once your saliva and shit starts to like break it down, it just eats away at it. And so um we so I started doing that. Well, you see the people like on some videos where they become like invincible and like, they get
Yeah.
shot 6 times, they just keep fucking going. That's from smoking meth to snorting meth. It's two different feelings. And that sounds weird. Like people are gonna say, no, he's wrong. Try it. I mean, don't try it. But I mean, like,
Yeah, no, stay away from it.
I don't wish this on anybody, but like, I would get the cocaine rush. Well, see, I also found out before all that, I found out that if you buy just like a gram of cocaine and you take your bag of meth that's all crystallized and you fucking smash it up in the bag and you turn it into powder and you pour coke in the bag and you mix it up, the coke will coat it will coat the meth crystals. So it's easier. So, you spend, you know, $50 on this and then you buy this for $100 and you combine them and it's like, it'll not be as bad. Well, I don't give a fuck what you say. Cocaine's expensive. There's a reason why it's.
Folks, I didn't know we were going to spiral down a drug wormhole, but we're learning something today.
You wanted me to tell you all this.
I mean, yeah, I'm curious because I just don't understand how people can get so far out there.
Because it gets into your head. Because like I said with cocaine, it's a mood drug to me.
Right.
To me, it was a mood drug. You know how painkillers are downers. Weed is kind of depends if you have like sativa or whatever fuck it is. It depends on which strand you're smoking. You could be energetic or you can be fucking lazy.
Right.
Adderall's an upper. It'll fucking get you rolling. You fucking told us about that, I think, last week or whatever.
Yeah, that's good. That's the only thing I've ever taken.
Yeah.
Extracurricular wise, and didn't even know what it was until after the fact.
Yeah.
It scared the hell out of me. That's why when I see people just jumping and twitching and all messed up on that shit, I'm like, why would you continue to do it?
For me, this is just my experience. Meth was all about the situation that you're in. If I was at work, working my ass off, yada, 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 just, bumping music, I was fine. It's when you're in that long drive home or you get into a fight with your old lady or whatever and you do it. It takes you to a dark place. It takes you to a mental state that I hope no one that's never done it ever has to experience it because, you see the videos of, whenever dad comes home and he sits in his truck for 10 minutes and you see him saying about, am I doing good enough? Am I making enough money to provide for my family? Take that times a fucking 100.
Really?
You will think of everything that you've ever done in your past. Whether you broke up with a girl you thought you shouldn't have broke up with her, whether you borrowed fucking $20 from your grandma and you never fucking paid her back and you feel like a piece of shit, whether you didn't answer that one phone call to a friend and now they're dead and now you fucking hate, like me. A lot of my problem is I've lost my kid.
Yeah.
I've lost my brother.
Yeah.
I lost my mom. And then before them was my grandpa. I can tell you that
you relived every loss every time you did it.
The worst loss I've had, and people are going to say, well, what the fuck's he mean? He lost a kid. The worst one I can say to date was my brother. Because I can tell you the last thing I said to him. And then I got fucked up. We were going to my grandma's for lunch on Sunday.
Right.
Because my grandma Mary used to do lunch every Sunday.
Right.
He was supposed to come to town. He hadn't been to town for like a month. Well, he told my mom, I'm coming. I'm going to be there. I'm coming to your house this weekend. Well, he didn't show up. Well, I was leaving for work Monday morning to go to Arkansas. And I fucking called him. He didn't answer. I texted him. I was like, all right, you little motherfucker, stop fucking lying. Stop being a piece of shit. If you're going to say something, fucking do it. I just ripped his ass. 2 days later, I got a phone call. He was dead. And I remember coming home. Of course, everyone's at my grandma's crying, yada, yada. And I was like, the first thing, and at that time, I was trying to quit everything.
Right.
And I came home and I was like, okay, everyone's content here. I have to go do something. I went and bought a case of Coors Light, and I went to a person's house and I bought an 8 ball of meth. And I can honestly fucking tell you from that point was the worst I had ever been because I was in my head.
Right.
And then, like, it took a little bit, and that's when other things happened. Like, couldn't see my kids for a little bit, and then, like, I was stuck. And that's okay. I've talked to my family about this, so I can say it. People who have addicts in your family, and you act like they're being distant, and like, my stepmom knew. My mom knew because my mom caught me doing it, but my
Right.
my stepmom knew because she had family members who did drugs.
Right.
And she told me, she's like, Cody, I knew what you were doing. I just didn't do anything about it. All it would have taken for me, I know this for a fact, was, what do you call them, an intervention.
Right.
If my dad and my stepmom would have called me and said, you need to come sit down, we need to have a talk, and I would have sat down and talked to them, I probably would have quit. I just didn't think anybody gave a shit. Because I knew people knew, because people
Right.
talk. I mean,
Oh yeah.
my mom and my dad talked.
Well, we live in
So,
a small town. Everybody
yeah.
talks about everybody.
And so I was like, I'm doing these illegal drugs. I'm fucking hurting my body. Like,
So in your mind, even though you're in the midst of it,
yeah.
you knew what you were doing was
No,
wrong.
yeah, I fucking everybody knows whoever says I didn't know it was that bad. You're full of shit. Like, you are full of shit because you're the one putting it in your body because you think. Now I will say, when you get into that state of mind and then you hit it again, whether you hit a line or you smoke it or you inject it, whatever, for that fucking first 30 minutes, you don't feel anything. You feel numb to emotion, pain, whatever. You feel like
Euphoric.
nothing. You literally feel like nothing matters. Kids, your wife, your family, you don't fucking care.
Really.
And I think that's the feeling most people chase, is that I don't want to feel anything. Because even self-consciously, you're like, I fucking hate this. But for that 30 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour, I don't feel nothing. I don't want to feel anything. So you keep doing it. You do more and you do more. And then, like, people, or whoever's listening, if you have somebody who you know is a drug addict or is struggling with drugs or of any kind, if you just talk to them, but don't chew their ass. Don't try to be that, you need to fucking stop. This is ridiculous. That's going to
Right.
make them do it more.
Right.
If you just go, look, I know what you're doing. I'm not okay with it. If you need anything, that's all. If someone would have said, if you need anything and you can stop taking this and come to me, I'll help you. I'll help you is the biggest thing.
Really.
Because you feel like, I'm a meth head. No one cares about me anymore. Like, no one cares.
Really.
And so, yeah, you get into a mental state where, you see those movies of the guy stuck in the bottom of the well trying to climb out. That's
Yeah.
where you're at. You're treading water, and you're like,
See,
fuck.
I've never talked
And
to
then-
somebody that's come through it full circle and come out the other side.
Then I can honestly say, the last time I ever did anything opened my eyes to where I don't want anybody else to go through with it.
Right.
But it was when I had some shit happen and I wasn't allowed to see my kids. And I had just bought some shit that had came from Florida. It was cocaine. I had bought some shit and I was like, okay, you've already purchased it. Do this. Get it the fuck over with. Get your shit clean. And get your kids back at least. If you can't save your marriage, you can't save your marriage.
Right.
Well, you're not supposed to snort 2 8 balls of cocaine laced with fentanyl
Oh my.
in one night.
No.
I remember waking up in the emergency room to my mom. And as a kid that was close to his mom,
That was a hard pill
that
to
was
swallow.
the
wasn't it?
worst feeling ever. Not so much waking up handcuffed to a fucking bed.
Which probably didn't feel too good either.
Well, I mean, people, they're like, oh, you're going to go to jail. There's nothing. If it's in your system, they can't do shit about it. Like, they can't do, the cop even told me that. If it's in your body, he searched your truck. It's not there. There's nothing there. so we can't take you to jail for drug charges. Now they question you and ask you where you got it, yada yada yada, and you're just like, I don't know, got it from a guy. I didn't ask his name. I just bought it, and that I had the Narcan shit shoved up my nose. I was unconscious. I wasn't breathing. I wasn't nothing. Didn't know it was laced with fentanyl. Tastes the same. But
God.
I think that's the new number one leading killing people for drugs.
That stuff is
fentanyl.
the devil.
And they lace it with cocaine. They lace it. They fucking whenever you buy
And you know
fucking
the
bags of
sad
meth,
part
they
with
put it
this,
in there.
with that fentanyl,
It doesn't take a lot to kill you.
you don't even have to ingest it. There's been people that have died from touching it. They get it on their skin and it like absorbs in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so deadly.
Oh yeah, it's a fucked up drug. And I don't know where the fuck it came from, but it can go right the fuck back.
It was a medication.
Yeah, well, it can go right the fuck back where it came
Yeah,
from.
I don't know where it's came from either, but I know it's horrible.
Yeah. And so, yeah. But yeah, to answer your question, you do get into a dark place that mentally you feel like you can't get out of because, like you said with your brother-in-law, you're like, I think you said one time you seen him and you didn't recognize him, and like he didn't recognize you. It's because he doesn't remember nothing.
He literally. So I walked into a gas station.
Yeah.
And mind you, I spent more time with this guy than my sister.
Yeah.
And she was married to him because we framed houses together.
Yeah.
We get up in the morning, we rode to work together. We drove home together. Yes, I'm not promoting it, but we'd stop and get beer on the way home and country cruise all the way home.
Yeah.
And we'd leave the house in the dark, we'd get home in the dark. So, I mean, I spent every day with him. And then on the weekends, him and I'd go fishing. We'd spend a whole Saturday pond hopping.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like we were related through marriage. At the time, he was probably one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And I walked into this gas station and I'm standing there looking at him and it broke my heart because he was maybe 140 pounds and this dude was comfortable and looked healthy at 200.
Yeah.
And he was probably 140 pounds. I sunk back in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood there and I stood there. And at this time, I still looked exactly like I did. And I finally looked at him. I said, well, are you going to say hi or not? Granted, him and my sister had been divorced for quite a while at that point. But I was still, I mean, he'd never done anything to me.
Yeah.
He was just a horrible husband. He wasn't a bad brother-in-law. And he looked at me and like you could just see the blankness. And he goes, well, I didn't even recognize you. And I'm like, well, I look the same. I said, you're the one that looks like you're dying.
Yeah.
And so then instantly comes in the excuses. Well, I've just been really sick here lately. And
yeah.
And you know, I'm still dealing with these hips. Well, yeah, he was still dealing with the hips because he was doing so much drugs that his hips couldn't heal from where he'd had a hip replacement.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart. I left out of that gas station, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't promote it, but I did do a little drinking and driving. I left out of that gas station and I drove around for a while and it hurt my heart.
Yeah.
Knew I couldn't help him.
Yeah.
Nobody that's been associated with him could help him. He don't want help. He enjoys.
Yeah. And that's
like
just
where
how
you
some
said
people
where
are.
you said if somebody would have just come to you and said, if there's anything I can do to help.
Yeah.
That would have changed.
And like I
it
said,
for you.
everybody's situation is different.
Right. With
but
him, there was no help. He didn't want no help.
most
He
of the
didn't-
people that I knew that got clean, they're just like the same thing I said. We just feel like no one cared.
Yeah. Just wanted somebody to give a shit.
Yeah.
And with him, he had a whole army of people that gave a shit.
Yeah.
He would much rather sit and wallow in his self-pity
Yeah.
and eat that whatever you do with it.
I will say
Eat
the
it.
the reason why this is what's shitty, is most addictions start is after a severe injury because you get painkillers. Back in the day when I got my injury, this is before Trump and everything.
Oh, and opiates.
I
Opiates
was-
are horrible.
I remember we left the hospital. My mom got my prescription on the way home. Because Chanute Hospital, I think, had the pharmacy in the hospital.
Yeah.
And they gave me a fucking bottle bigger than this can, like the size of your koozie with the can, a bottle of OxyContin. Take one of these every 4 hours needed for pain, and they're them big orange bastards. Oh, fuck. You take Oxycontin, 30 milligrams, you don't feel a fucking thing.
So my dad has had probably 5 shoulder surgeries. Had a bicep tendon repaired. They went in through his neck, took a bone out of his hip, and fused his vertebrae together in his neck.
Oh, we got to do a shot.
We're going to.
Okay, cool.
And should have had lower back surgery.
Yeah.
Has had both knees fixed, all due to concrete work. He was a concrete man, flat work, for 40 years.
Find me a fucking construction worker of any trade that has done it for 15 plus years and is not in pain.
And so, Oxycontin. Let's talk about it. So that's what they prescribed to my dad. That was back before they realized how bad it was.
Did you ever watch that movie on Netflix about it?
No.
Oh, you need to watch it. I'll have to have my lady text me the name of it.
But he got it prescribed to him. He started taking it, and my dad was back. He was the invincible concrete man.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt. And we thought, okay. They told him, you just keep taking this. Well, he started out with the 10 milligram ones. Or 5s. He started out with 5s, and he worked up to 10s because he developed a tolerance. Then he worked up to 15s. And I think by the time he was done, he was taking
fucked up.
the 20s. And it's a time release.
Painkiller.
On painkillers?
No, it's on Netflix. It's called Painkiller.
Called Painkiller?
And it's about Oxycontin, how it was invented, and what they knew they were doing.
Dude, I'm telling you.
By the way, if you Google Oxycontin, the first thing pops up is a suicide hotline.
Yeah. So he got to, and we didn't realize it because, it wasn't as publicized about that kind of stuff back then. You need something else?
I'm waiting for that shot.
Okay.
And then I'll have something else.
He started taking it.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize how addicted he was, but he was addicted. Like he was hook, line, and sinker. He was in. Well, he always carried his little keychain pill bottle with his emergency pills in it. And back then, we were traveling a lot on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like I've been all over the United States on 2 wheels. Love it. Been to more bike rallies than you could possibly even think about. And met probably some of the nicest people on the planet. Bikers get a bad name. I've met some of the best part about a biker is they're real.
Oh, that's like I was watching that video about the Hells Angels, dude.
The nicest, most genuine people you'll ever meet.
You know how much shit the Hells Angels do for charity?
Oh, dude. Every bike organization. But we go to a bike rally, and it's probably a solid 4-hour ride from here. We get down there, we get camp set up, we run into all of our friends because you start going to these bike rallies and you get into this community, and we've got friends. I've got friends from all over.
Yeah,
I got a buddy that is he's a writer and writes articles for Outlaw Biker magazine, for Biker magazine. I have been in Easy Rider. I've been in Biker. I've been in Outlaw Biker just because hanging out with him and my pictures. I got a stack of magazines I've been in from all these different rallies. The South's going to do it again in Poplar Bluff, Pawhuska, Oklahoma, you name it. Little Sturgis, Kentucky, all these. We went to this one, and it's probably 4 hours from here. And like I said, met up with all of our friends, was just getting ready to start having fun. Got camp set up, and Dad come to me, and he's sweating. And this is a fall rally. It's cold. We all wore our leather down there. I mean, it was chilly. And he's sweating, and I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "I forgot my medicine." I'm like, "Okay." Well, at that point, I didn't realize how serious it was. He goes, "No, I forgot it." And I'm like, "Okay, Dad, you said that. I get it." He goes, "No, we got to go." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I have to leave right now."
Yeah.
I'm like, "It's a 4-hour ride home." He goes, "If I don't leave right now," he said, "I'm going to start withdrawing." And he goes, "I won't be able to get home." Well, then I kind of freaked out. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't realize he was that hooked.
Yeah.
Like it was that bad. Dude, the process that my dad had to go through. I mean, granted, we did. We packed up. We left. We drove home. We got his pills. We turned around and we drove back. So a 4-hour ride to a bike rally.
12.
Turned into 12 hours because the return trips. And I didn't necessarily have to go.
But you wanted to make
But I wasn't going to not go because if he did start withdrawing halfway there.
Yeah.
I'd have had to make a phone call and get an ambulance or get my mom to meet us somewhere. So, long story short, he decided himself that he realized how bad it was. He's like, I'm going to get myself weaned off of it.
Yeah.
So they switched him. And at this point in time, like I can't even make this up. My dad probably took Oxycontin daily for 10 years. That's not a long-term drug. You're not supposed to take it that long.
No, you're not.
I mean, maybe 6 months at the longest. He took it for 10 years. Every day, I believe twice a day, along with his pain pill. That wasn't his pain pill. That was just his maintenance medicine. He took another one called Neurontin. He'd take one of those whenever pain spiked up and he was really hurting. And he was taking a muscle relaxer called Flexeril.
God, your dad was fucked.
So my dad was a walking chemical plant. And they finally figured out, and he, I mean, in our minds and in his mind, he needed it because he was dealing with chronic pain.
Yeah.
We figured out after they got him weaned off of it, that shit was causing the chronic pain.
Oh, yeah.
Like they weaned him off of it slowly and switched him over to a synthetic type of morphine. The stuff he takes now, if he forgets his pill sometimes.
Yeah.
Totally forgets it.
He's fine.
And goes 5, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever, doesn't even realize it until it's time to take his medicine again. And he goes, I don't think I took my morning medicine.
Yeah.
There was no chance of him ever missing a pill when he was on Oxycontin. He would have a hot flash, break out in cold sweats. Like I've seen people withdraw, even though I've never personally done any of this stuff. I've seen it. It's not good.
No, it's fucking terrible.
And the fact that a chemical can get you so hooked like that.
Oh, it's fucking wild.
Scary.
I will say going from taking drugs that make you not eat and sleep, you sure did miss it.
Oh,
eating a fucking actual meal and then going to bed for 8 hours.
That's the other reason I could have never done meth. I like food.
Yeah.
I ain't fat because I don't like food.
Yeah. Don't sleep for 2 days.
I did hear a funny one the other day, though. You know a tweaker's favorite sex position? Doggy style. You know why?
They can both look what's going on.
That way they can both look out the window. Okay, so before I forget, I brought these up, I think. Didn't I? Okay. The survival tins. We need some people to comment. We need some insight here. And let us know what you think about this whole drug deal that's going on right now, because this fentanyl's some scary shit.
Oh, I think, doesn't America have one of the highest, probably not the highest, but like we're like up there and like
with the death rating,
with like the amount of narcotics that are consumed and like used.
It scares me so much with my kids.
Oh, it's fucking nuts.
Because they don't even have to do it.
The crazy thing is my kids, I've told my kids that understand it.
Oh.
Like, because
we preach to my youngest all the time.
Well, I just tell them I've done it. And this is what you're going to expect. And this is what's going to happen. And this is how you're going to feel. And all this. And they're like, I don't want that.
No.
I'm like, then don't do it.
No, stay away from it.
And I preach to my kids, if you try it once, you're hooked. It's not always the case. But, because you got like your weekend warriors and all those guys. I just do it on, it's Friday night. And they'll do cocaine Friday, Saturday, and they're done Sunday. I mean, like, that's how I started out as was a weekend warrior. And
yeah, but still, just
but I mean, like, there's all different types of addicts. But like, I preach to my kids, if you try it once, it's gonna get to you. Like I've told my kids openly, like, I've been there, I've done it. It's miserable.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we understand. Because like, well, your son is a year older than my daughter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too fucking long ago they had a kid get caught in school with drugs.
I know.
He was selling drugs in middle school. And I'm like,
it's so crazy to me
what
because,
the shit?
And I know my grandparents probably said that.
The biggest
when
thing
I was
is
a
these
kid,
little fuckers.
Yes.
The fucking kids will pass these bitches around like they're candy.
Yes. And I know I probably sound like my parents sounded back when I was a kid. But kids these days don't have a chance.
No.
There's so many different things coming at them from every different
you say
direction.
That, but you grew up in the rock and roll era.
I did.
That was
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I didn't.
Cocaine City.
I didn't have
No, I'm
no
just
desire.
saying, like,
No, but I'm saying I didn't have no desire, nor was it really as prevalent. Like, I know they say that that was that era.
yeah,
Because my mom and dad were baby boomers.
yeah,
I'm a Gen X, and they say that Gen X is, you know, like they partied. We did, but my idea of partying was me and 4 or 5 buddies would pool our money together. We'd talk somebody into getting us a keg,
yeah,
and we'd go out in the middle of nowhere and have a keg party in somebody's pasture
yeah.
and just get hammered.
Oh, yeah.
But that was coming from a small town. I'm sure if I would have been in a city and been exposed to it, it would have been more prevalent. But I don't really remember in the mid to late 90s, I don't remember drugs being that bad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we had our stoner buddies that was always smoking pot, but that's about it. I don't remember cocaine being around or meth. I don't think meth was around. If it was, I didn't know anything about it.
I did acid once.
Now I did have a little stoner buddy that got messed up one time, and
Put the little strip on my tongue.
he did some of that, and then
It'll
he
fucking
also
make you strip the
he
fuck out.
also scared the hell out of all of us. I'm not gonna say your name, but if you watch this, you'll know I'm talking about you. So he had a dealer. He was going to Pitt State.
Mhm.
Lived in an apartment down there in Pittsburgh, and he had a dealer, and he told him, he said he had some new stuff. Wanted to know if he wanted to try it. It was all weed. That's all he ever did was smoke weed. So he got this stuff, and the joints were already rolled.
They were laced.
They were dipped,
Mm-hmm.
and they were what they called wet.
Yep.
Dipped in formaldehyde.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, it makes you go numb.
Yeah.
And you can't move.
Yeah.
Like it basically embalmed his ass for a short period of time.
Yeah, it'll fuck
But
you up.
it was me and him and one other buddy of ours, and we're sitting in his apartment on the couch. And he looks over at us. He could turn his neck, but he couldn't move the rest of his body.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks over at us and he goes, I can't move. And I'm like, wow, you really got stoned this time. And I'm drinking a beer. I take a drink and I look at him, and he's like, his face went pale. And I'm like, are you serious? He goes, dude, I really can't move. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, what do you think it is? He goes, it's that shit. It's that weed I got. We carried him into his bedroom, laid him in his bed, and I sat in a chair next to it. And I'm talking to him, and he thought he was dying. He said, I'm dying. I'm going to die. This is it. He said, just tell my mom I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this, and I love them all. And I did. I had a little bit of a panic attack, was kind of nervous. And then all of a sudden, I was like, well, just move your hand. He said, I can't. I'm trying. And I said, well, how about your toe? And his big toe wiggled. And he goes, did that move? And I'm like, yeah, it moved. And so a little bit later, he's like, look. And he starts wiggling his toes. And I was like, you're going to be all right. I'm leaving. And I left. I bailed. I did. As soon as I saw him moving his toes, I'm like, he's going to live. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Because all I could think was, I don't want to get caught.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't have anything left, I was like, I was paranoid as hell. So we went to my other buddy's apartment. And this is before cell phones even. Like, yeah, I'm old. But we waited a little while, and then we called him from one apartment to the other, and he answered. I was like, well, you're obviously moving because you had to grab the phone to answer it. And he goes, I still can't get out of bed. And I'm like, but you think you're okay? He goes, yeah, I think so. He said, I can move my legs good and I can move my arms good. And I'm like, well, what did we learn?
Yeah.
And I'm 19 years old, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to be Dr. Phil back then before Dr. Phil was even a guy.
Talking like your
I'm
fucking
like,
parents.
what did we learn? And he goes, we are never smoking anything that's already rolled. I'm like, exactly.
Point
we can't
fucking
do that.
proven.
We can't do that.
All right, shot time. Let's fucking
Okay,
do this
so-
next drink shot.
All right, so last week we tried this PB's chocolate peanut butter whiskey.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
I'm a fan, as we all know, of the moonshine, the banana moonshine.
Yeah.
We're going to mix them.
Isn't it Little Smokies or Little whatever it is?
Old Smokies, I
Old
believe.
Smokies, yeah. I have a drug story about taking ecstasy once.
So I got to thinking about this, right?
Yeah.
You have chocolate-covered bananas.
Yeah.
Elvis liked peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Yeah.
These should technically go together flawlessly. This should be amazing.
Are
So-
those cups clean?
I cleaned them.
Okay, good deal. I know those are still sitting here from last week. No, so while you're mixing this, I was in high school.
And I bartended for 9 years, so these are going to be good.
Yeah, I was in high school.
You need
And-
another beer or something to go with it?
Yeah, sure.
What do you want?
Yeah, I'll make a little, I guess. And I don't want to drink all your White Claws. That was actually the more I drank it, it was actually good.
They're not bad.
So a buddy of mine that I'm no longer friends with, or well, I mean, if I see him, I talk to him. You know,
Dun,
He-
dun, dun.
he got his hands on like 3 or 4 ecstasy pills,
Oh, dear Lord.
and I was like, never taken it. And he was like, well, the guy I bought them from said, you take them, wait like 20 minutes, and you drink Sunny D orange juice, and it amplifies the effect. I was like, okay. So we're all sitting around this table, and back then we had Pizza Hut in
It's
town.
not easy to bartend with a microphone right in your damn way.
And we ordered Pizza Hut. We ate first, so we didn't know how this was gonna go. So we ate pizza first. 3 of us. It was me, this buddy, and then it was a guy that was dating his sister.
By
We
the
all
way,
3
this smells so good.
does it. And so we popped them at the same time. Waited about 10 minutes, and we each poured a glass of orange juice. And we started drinking the orange juice.
Isn't it citrus that makes it
Yeah.
worse?
It intensifies the effects, what they say.
Oh, dear Lord.
So we're sitting there. We go in the front room and start watching a movie.
Brand
And
new bottle.
I hear
or
the
jar.
dryer go off. Well, my buddy's sister comes out and she starts folding towels and blankets. So she's like, she's like, Cody, you cold? And I was like, oh, kinda. And so she fucking hands me this blanket,
It's going to be more of a drink than a shot.
and I start fucking rubbing this blanket. And everyone's like, dude, are you feeling anything? And I was like, oh, yeah. And I'm fucking rubbing this fucking fuzzy, warm blanket. And I'm like, dude. And I'm like rubbing the fucking carpet. And I'm like, what's
Feels
going
so
on?
Smooth.
I was like, everything's like intent, like the touch and the feel. And I was like, I feel, oh, that smells good. And
Really?
it's just stout. And I ended up fucking, yeah, I ended up going home and, yeah, I laid in bed and just stared at the ceiling and like was just rubbing my fucking sheets in my bed.
Oh, my God.
It was like 4 hours. Oh,
I'm
God.
just going to say, that smells like a chocolate-covered banana.
with a smack in the face of whiskey.
I don't even smell the whiskey. I got to be totally honest. That smells so good.
Are you drinking the whole thing?
Well, I'm getting there's quite a bit.
Oh, you
there.
gotta stir it up.
Yeah. See it mix?
Oh yeah, there we go.
It looks like chocolate milk once it mixes. I don't have the stick to go mixy mixy.
Mixy. Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Shout out to that fucking guy.
Yeah. Oh, I saw. Oh,
Oh, well, see,
Okay.
after you mix it up, it
before we
smells
do
better.
before we do this,
Okay.
I have to tell you about him.
Okay.
So,
Have you ever watched his lives? They're funny as shit too.
so I watched one. It was on Instagram of him, and I'm guessing it couldn't be on TikTok
Yeah.
because of the content. And we've been talking about this kind of stuff anyway. So he's reading a comment, and it says, "My uncle, when it's his turn to be designated driver, he likes Coke and orange juice mixed together. He calls it a something, and he says this name. And he's like, okay, let's try it. So it cuts, and when it cuts back to him, his nose is completely white, and he's shaking, and he goes, this looks like a great idea. And he pours a cup full of orange juice, and he chugs it, and then he goes, yeah, your uncle's right. That's amazing. It's the best orange juice I've ever had. And I'm like, okay, I think he meant Coca-Cola and orange juice. But just the way he done it, I'll have to show you this video because it's hilarious.
That's fucking hilarious.
I was not expecting it because I'm
Yeah.
thinking Coke and orange juice. That sounds gross.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to try Coca-Cola and orange juice.
You
Just
put
to
a bunch of
see.
flour all over.
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he put flour all over his. Here, I got to show you. Because I just got it. I think it was today. And I died. It was hilarious.
I'm fucking going in.
Oh, wait, no.
That's a long
Long stretch.
stretch.
All right.
Are you doing the whole thing?
Yeah, I got to take my Rogue out, though. I think it's going to make it taste funny.
I took mine out. That peppermint would have been gross.
Oh, I'm still on the wintergreen. All right.
Well, this whole roll was on sale.
All right, down the hatch.
Oh, fuck me. Okay. 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 There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah, the whiskey's got a mean kick
Oh.
in it, but
It's smooth.
it's a chocolate banana.
Yeah.
Maybe a hint of peanut butter. Wow. I could drink that. I couldn't have very many. I feel like a diabetic
Breathe
coma.
fucking fire.
See, I didn't think it was very stout. And I had a little bit more of this in it than you did. I got a little overzealous when I poured it. I was like,
I mean, honestly, though, that's...
I could do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now I got to find this video.
That
You
was
have to
fucking
you
good.
have to watch it. Dude, I laughed so hard.
Damn.
Because it was not what I was expecting. Like I was because he always does drinks.
Yeah.
So I was just expecting him to mix Coca-Cola and orange juice and give his honest opinion,
It'll
because
make you fucking warm.
that's the other thing I like about him. If he doesn't like it, he is the first one to tell you, hit play on that and watch that. Oh, it's hilarious. You may have to turn the volume up. I think I have my volume all the way down.
It's got a muddy hole.
A muddy hole, yeah. Isn't that hilarious?
That's fucking
Because I'm thinking Coca-Cola and orange juice, and when he comes back and his nose is white, I'm like, oh, that's not. I don't think that's the way it was supposed to
When he
go.
took the shot, half of it came back.
Oh yeah, half of it come back. He poured a full glass of orange juice.
That's fucking great.
So my Arkansas buddies that'll be up here for turkey season, he just sent me this picture and said I had to buy Mama a new ride.
Is that a fucking Land Rover?
It's a Kia Telluride.
Oh.
She normally has a she's had a couple of really nice Ford Explorers. And
That's my sister about how that works.
and so he texted me, he said, had to get Mama a new ride, which it is beautiful. And I told him, I was like, that's beautiful. He said, now maybe she'll quit complaining when I come to Kansas and hunt. I'm like, yeah,
No,
maybe
she's
so.
still gonna complain, big dog.
Yep.
That's what they do. Oh,
But yeah,
man.
so I don't even remember where I was at. I'm busy still letting my palate cleanse from that. I don't want
Right.
another one.
I know. It wasn't bad. I'll give it a minute and have another one.
I kind of want another one.
We'll do a Hindoff shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll just have a little bit of the
little
bit of the old
moonshine.
smoky on the jar here.
He has to get in his calories for the day.
I'm telling you, I don't know if I've told you this. I'm sure I have. That's the best coffee creamer on the planet.
Yeah, you said that.
That's what we used
Yeah.
in the mountains. Man, every time I drink it, I'm thinking, if I could just be back in the mountains
Yeah.
with that and a cup of coffee, that's just as good as anything going. So what else have we got on the agenda?
I don't know. Trying to think. That's what I was. But
I mean, we still got hats.
yeah, we still got some hats.
We still got a few. If anybody wants one, hit us up.
Yeah. Also, if you want a tin, we'll throw in a hat.
Yep. Yep. We got the Ready Safe Survivaltins. Comes with a Mylar emergency blanket. There's a secret. One of them two has an O-light in it. We're gonna give those away. And yeah, like he said, if you get on board quick, we'll throw a hat in with it.
Yeah.
Make a package deal out of it. We I did talk to my other nephew. He couldn't do it tonight. He was going to come in and substitute since Jake couldn't be here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake, from State Farm.
Still fucking mad that you're going tomorrow.
Right. But he's got a frisbee golf tournament in the morning. And he said because he placed, or he actually won the tournament the last time. Dude's got an arm on him.
Yeah.
But he's like 6'4" and 285 pounds of pure muscle and can fling a frisbee.
Yeah.
He won the last tournament, so they bumped him up.
Oh.
And he's in the semi-pro bracket now.
There you go.
He's like, so I have to be there super early. So he's like, I'm not going to make it this time. He's like, I told him to let me know, and we'll get him in here. He's got a smorgasbord, to say the least, of pistols. And
That
he
shit
wants
is
to bring them
so
all in
annoying.
so we can talk about them.
Yeah. Does your Snapchat ever do that to you? Let you know that someone has a new Snapchat account?
Or a news story.
Yeah, I don't
So
fucking
and so
care.
added to their story. I don't care. If I haven't got on and
speaking
looked
of,
at their
like,
story,
apps on my phone. Shout out to the fucking Spotify AI guy.
I mean, there's days where
Today
he does a
was
good
on
job.
fucking point.
And see, he wasn't for me.
He
I
was
skipped.
going from like he introduced me to a few new songs. I don't know that I'll have to go back through. I liked them. I'll have to go back through and look at them.
I did. I
They
liked a
were
bunch today.
they were like some. I'm not much. I'm not much of a Red Dirt guy, but like he's been kind of pushing that fucking subject for some reason. Like he was like, you know how he's like, I when you listen to these and then like give me some feedback on what you think. And I'm assuming when you skip a song, that means you don't like it.
Oh yeah, because I skipped like 5 in a row today, and he goes, "Well, I see it's an AI DJ
Yeah.
on Spotify."
So if you go to Spotify, go to the search bar, type in DJ. It's the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, he takes a hint
Oh yeah.
because I skipped like 5 in a row today.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, I take it we're not feeling that not playlist, but we're not feeling that section." He goes, "Let's move on to something I know you like."
Yeah.
And then he played like 3 songs in a row off of my liked album.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah,
So
there
he
you go."
started off playing like some Red Dirt stuff, and some of it I wasn't a fan of. And then like out of nowhere, he's like, I'm gonna play this and give me some feedback on what you think. And it's like 4 songs at a time or
Mhm.
5 songs. And shut up, Live 360. And then he'll like go to the next subject or the
Yeah.
next subject.
Yeah.
Well, like out of the 4 or 5 songs, I liked like 3 or 4 of them. I was like, those are good. So I just made myself listen to it.
Right.
Because, when you listen to the same shit every day, you get kind of bored. But
You
that
do.
thing's kind of cool.
It is.
And then, like,
Because
after
it
that,
does give you a
he's
little bit of
like,
perspective.
I'm gonna play some rap music, and he's like, I'm gonna play some rap music. So here's some rap music, and let's see what you think. And then like the first fucking song it plays can't really say it. I can't say it. I'm white, but it's by Jay-Z and Kanye West. It's the N-word in Paris, and it's got like don't
think I've ever heard it.
Got the quotes from Blades of Glory, where the guy's like, it's provocative, it gets the people going. Like he has parts in there.
Oh, really?
And then like after that, I was like, I like that song. That's a good song. And it goes to after that, it goes straight into Forgot About Dre. I'm like, okay,
get on board with that.
And then it goes to fucking it played NWA. I'm like, okay, you're doing good. And then like after that, it went from like the next choice. The topic was all Linkin Park. I'm like, okay, didn't skip any of those either.
Right.
And then he was like, now let's see what you think about this. And I don't care what you say. It went to all Nickelback. Like
I like Nickelback.
And it played 4 of the 5 songs from Nickelback, and one of them was Bad Wolves. And then it went into like he just kept going. And then he got on to a pop kick, but it was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, this is when I was a kid. And then he went like and then he was like, and now we're gonna take it back. And then the next 4 songs was AC/DC, Def Leppard, Metallica, and I'm like, motherfucker. And like he just, he was,
dude, you're on one.
And I'm like, I didn't skip shit for probably 3 hours.
Oh,
my man was just fucking pumping them out.
He wasn't on it today for me.
I was like, I think you saw me at work. I was over there just like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I was fucking getting it.
Yeah, no, he wasn't on today for me. He was slacking a little bit. I did pick up a couple new blues songs that I hadn't heard.
Like, why do I give a shit if these 2 people are now on Snapchat? I don't care.
I don't know, but my phone's been blowing up too.
Right? But yeah. Spotify has a AI DJ, and honestly, it's a 50-50 shot whether he's gonna impress you the whole day or and then he got on late 80s, early 90s country kick, and it was like George Strait. It had fucking Dolly Parton in there. It had what was it? I'm trying to think of his name. Chris Ledoux was on there. There's a bunch of shit. I mean, he was everywhere. Like, it was not the same thing back to back to back. It was just, and that's kind of what I like about it, is it's random as shit, and it kind of follows you. But the weird thing is, and I was gonna talk to you about this. So I have, like, you know how on YouTube, if you listen like a lot of music videos on YouTube, it comes up with my mix on YouTube,
Yeah, yeah,
where I pick
yeah,
like your like artist you like or whatever.
yeah. It gives you
There are
relative
songs
stuff
I've
to what
never
you listen
listened to
to.
on Spotify where he would be like, "So I see you like this, so let's play these." And they're songs from my YouTube fucking mix playlist. And I'm thinking, how do you know I listen to those songs on YouTube, but not on Spotify?
Huh.
And I'm like, well, I think my FBI agent knows.
Well, at least your
But
FBI agent's
all
got
right,
the
go
same
ahead and mix us another one,
taste in music. I
and
mean, it was good, wasn't it?
then that should be our send off shot for the day. So
Okay.
I don't think we planned on spiraling down the whole narcotics wormhole,
I mean,
but
I for sure didn't, but
I'm sure everybody has somebody that they
in the
know or are
same
related
breath,
to.
I just want to say it is nice to hear a different perspective,
And whether it's gambling,
especially coming
or,
from me.
yeah,
I don't know anything about it.
yeah,
So to get a little bit of insight from the other side,
yeah,
not saying that you're like, down that side or whatever,
the dark
but
side.
you have been there.
Yeah.
You have experienced it. You have come back out of that hole.
That I did.
And
And the crazy
which
thing
one was
is
yours?
that one right there.
Okay.
And I will say, coming out of that
Not that I think you got cooties or
dark
anything,
era
but
or whatever, it brings a new, and I'm sure your dad can probably contest this too. It brings a new aspect on life about how, like,
yeah, it makes you appreciate stuff more,
you
probably.
and I'm gonna say this because you're not a churchy guy, but you believe in all that. I mean, like,
I am
I mean,
100%. Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't. So when all that stuff happened with Hayden and stuff like that, my old lady wanted to take them to church and get them involved more in that.
Absolutely.
So
Jesus fixes everything.
we went to church, and I'm sitting
I said
there,
that shit out loud and I meant it.
and we went to church, and I'm sitting there. You know, I had my little coffee because they got a coffee station
Right.
at Community Christian Church.
Okay.
They have like a whole coffee buffet thing. You can make coffee of all kinds.
Right.
And why am I stuck on that?
You like coffee?
So I'm sitting there, and I always feel out of place because of my past. Drug addict.
Yeah, but you
I've
shouldn't. If
done
anything, you should feel more
Yeah.
at place.
drug addict. I've done PEDs. I've done everything. Alcoholic. I've been down every worm fucking hole, And I'm like, it's one of those, like, when I walked in the door, I feel like everyone's looking at me like, oh, he's not supposed to be here.
And see, that's the
And-
problem with churches.
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't feel that way.
And so we sit down. I'm talking to my grandparents because my grandparents go to this church a lot.
Right.
So I'm sitting there, and
Just to clarify too, though, before I get in trouble, not all churches are that way.
oh no,
They're not.
And so we're sitting there, and I'm drinking my coffee, and they open it up with the whole prayer thing, and then they have the
Yeah.
kids go, like, the younger kids go do their thing.
Right.
Like, so we're sitting there, and it's fucking weird because I don't know what, I can't remember what part they were in or chapter of the Bible, whatever it is, And he starts talking and going on, and I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, and he says something, and it catches my attention, and I'm like, what did he just say? And I look over, and I'm reading they have the teleprompter thing, like the
Right.
big screen. I'm reading it, and I'm going, no fucking way. And I can't, like I said, I can't remember what he was talking, like what specific part he was talking about.
Before you go any further, you know what that was?
What?
That was God.
And
That was God
so
saying something to you that he knew you needed to hear.
he's sitting there talking and reading this stuff off and all this other stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, and, everyone's nodding their head
Didn't
and
expect it,
agreeing,
did you?
and I'm like, I look at my old lady, and I'm like, babe, and she's like, I know, and I'm like, is this planned? And she's like, this is not planned. They're not gonna plan a whole church around what's like what had been going on.
No.
And I was like, this is exactly everything from the
You
last
need-
like 10 years.
It's exactly everything you needed to hear in that moment.
And it was about, okay.
And you can't make that. You can't make that up.
Let's see if you can understand it. It was about Holy fuck, we're going from drugs to church.
Hey, no, God's everywhere
and
at all times and
um,
everything.
I'm gonna need this shot. Are we doing the whole clashing thing?
Yeah.
Or- okay. Now we're getting into his realm. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, we are. Cheers. Oh, that was a double gulp. I got a little. Oh, I got a little heavy-handed on the whiskey on mine.
You got a little heavy hand on the moonshine on mine. That moonshine burned.
Ooh, thank you, Jesus. Help me. Tom Cruise ninjas are after me.
So it was about there's a lady that had like multiple husbands, and she like goes up and talks to him, and like he sees her as who she is and not from what she's done, and like she's been with this. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, she's like people
Jesus
are,
hung
like,
out with the prostitutes.
People are saying like she did all this for like attention, and she was like a hoe, like a hoe in their time or whatever.
Yeah.
And after all the stuff that happened with our kids, and then like he starts talking about like it's not okay to do what you need to do to feel like accepted and yada yada yada. Just be yourself. And I'm sitting there going, okay. And then it like spirals down this wormhole of like, because yeah, they pick certain, what do they call them? What's that? I don't want to fuck the word up. Sections in
Verses?
The Bible. Yeah, they pick certain verses and then they
Yeah.
talk about them.
Yeah.
And like he starts talking about like prostitution, talks about drugs, and talks about alcohol and how all of this can somewhat tie in together and like seeking out attention. And I'm going, okay, motherfucker. And that I feel like for some reason I felt like everybody was staring at me because I felt like they were talking to me. And I was like, oh God, everyone knows that I'm here, and so this is what they're talking about. And then I look, and no one's paying any attention to me, but I have that feeling that something's staring at me.
It had everything to do with you.
Yeah.
But nothing to do with you at the same time, if that makes sense.
And then
that pastor had that. He had that sermon already set.
Yeah.
But God knew that you were going to show up.
And then,
and I don't want to try to be philosophical or sound like a preacher, but God knew you were going to show up and knew you needed to hear it.
And so
I've had it happen to me so many times I can't even tell you.
I don't think we went the next week because either my grandma or grandpa got sick. Well, we went the week after that, and that's when my kids' mom did her bullshit.
Right.
She left forever. And we went again with my grandparents, and he started talking about something. It was I think it was in that John series. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, Book of John.
And starts talking about like.
I love how you said in that John series.
Yeah. I had showed you. I started to listen to it on my phone, but there's a lot. Dude, that is like a 19-hour long thing on Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm like 4 hours in.
Yeah.
But and he starts talking about like being left behind and like being alone and feeling alone, and then you realize who's there with you and all this shit. And Hayden looks at me and she's like, what the fuck? I mean, like, she didn't say that, but she had that, like, what the fuck look. And I was like, and it was just like both times we went, like, it seemed like they're just talking directly at you, but they're not.
No, that's
and
God.
Hayden's just like,
God was talking to you through somebody else.
And like, Hayden was just like, I don't know. And Ashley's like, this is getting weird. And I'm like, I know. Like, every time we went, something that we had either gone through right before that or stuff, and it was like stuff that had been, kept between like the family or whatever. It was just like it was just coming out, and I'm like, what?
You know what that tells me?
What?
You were supposed to be there,
right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no two ways about it. You get on this subject, and we've talked about all kinds of random stuff. The Emerald Tablets and Billy Carson and aliens and all that stuff. And at the end of the day,
but Billy Carson refers to God as capital G.
Oh, for sure.
So he still thinks
he's a believer. He's a believer.
He thinks there is the one person
and
who created everything.
There is, and he's here every day.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I listen to this stuff and it's entertaining, and it's whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I was raised in church, and I hear a lot of people.
Burp tastes so fucking good.
Isn't it amazing? I've heard a lot of people say, you believe whatever propaganda you've been fed your whole life. I call BS on that. Because, yes, I was raised in church. Yes, I was raised to believe in Jesus. But I only believe in him. Only because of the exact same kind of thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've had too many instances where nobody knew what I was going through.
Yeah.
Like, and with you had your family there, and it was a family matter, and it felt like they were talking about stuff that had happened.
Yeah.
I've had it happen where it was just me. It was just me.
Well,
it was
see-
just something that I was going through or something that had personally happened to me.
I can say,
And I can sit there and listen, and I'm like,
in my 30, almost 3 years of life, I can honestly say only
you're
one
only
time.
33? I thought you were 55. Go ahead, comment it, dare you.
There's one time in my life that I questioned all of it. And
That just makes you human.
granted, I was young.
Right.
I had just turned 18.
Dude, if I would have went through a portion of what you've been through
Yeah.
with losing a child,
Yeah, and that's what it was.
losing your brother,
Yeah.
losing your mom, all in the course of what, 4 years?
The crazy no, so like the crazy thing is like, so my son was 2011, or no, Hayden's 2011. My son was 2010. Hunter was 15, and he would be 21 or 2. In a 10-year span,
Yeah.
I lost my mom, my brother, and
3
my kid.
people
Yeah.
as close to you as you can get.
Yeah.
If I had have went through that,
Yeah.
there's no doubt in my mind that I wouldn't have doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Because, like, I knew, like, with my brother, he was 15. He had been out partying the night before. He was tired. He was driving home. He fell asleep.
Right.
I mean, we've all been there. I've drove to work on 69 fucking highway.
And woke up at
And
Lewisburg
woke
and
up
went,
and been-
how did I get here?
Yeah, and, like, you come to and you're like, holy fuck, I just hit Overland Park.
Oh, I've done it.
I mean,
I've left from
or
Pleasanton.
you wake up to your tires hitting the grass.
Left Pleasanton.
Yeah.
And woke up at Lewisburg and thought, I don't remember any of the drive here.
And my mom was dialysis. You can't live on dialysis forever.
And
It's-
your baby boy was just, he was born.
Well, and that's what questioned
Not-
it is, you know, I was also young,
But God had a bigger purpose for him.
and well, see, like that,
He did.
like what made me the most mad is like from day, so it was a 9-day span.
Right.
Day 1, when he was born, there was an issue, so we went up north.
Right.
Led into day almost 5, where it was slow progression. Like, this is what's going on. We can do a
We
shot
can try this,
to do
try
this,
that.
and I mean, whoever chose the fucking shot, for God's sake. I think I told you about that shot.
Yeah.
And then, or we could do dialysis. And I'm like, okay, well, dialysis is the safer bet. Let's go that route.
Right.
I'm 18. And like, you ever see the movies where they have like the
You were a
doctors?
baby. You were not
Yeah.
meant to be
Like,
making
so they
decisions
have-
about a baby.
They have the tables, like, you know, like you go to like a big hospital and they have like the meetings with the parents and the
Mhm.
doctors.
Oh, yeah.
And you've been to Children's Mercy.
Yeah, I know all too well.
Your kid doesn't have one doctor.
He has,
a
team.
fucking herd
A
of
team
doctors.
of doctors, yeah.
And so we have a meeting daily, and you have the fucking round table. and
Yeah.
every seat's taken, except like the 2 next to you guys, the parents, and you're just
Yeah.
like, holy shit. And then,
That's a lot to take in when you're that young. I've been there.
yeah, and like day 5 to day 9, it went downhill. Well, then, you know, like that whole time frame, it was like stressful and everything. And then I remember, and it was weird, like after it was all over with and he passed on, I didn't question it at first because I was exhausted. I mean,
Yeah.
I think my mom and Tony said
You were
probably
mentally
in the
drained.
9 days I slept a maximum of 72 hours in 9 days, over 9 days, and so like that's not a lot of time.
No.
And I remember we had left, went to a family friend of my ex-wife's, and that he had been like staying at while we were up there,
Right.
somewhere to shower and
Right.
relax, cook dinner, shit like that.
I did the Ronald McDonald House.
And
Thank you
shout out
so
to them.
much.
I've donated so much money to
Me
the
too.
Ronald McDonald House. whenever we got home, I walked inside, sat down. First thing I did was fucking crack a beer, and I'm sitting there, and that's when it kicked in. Was well because my grandma was like, "You should go to church with us a weekend," and I was like, "Oh, I'll think about it." I mean, like like got a lot
Right.
going on,
Right.
and I was like, I'm sitting there, and I'm like,
That's when the anger kicked in.
it kicked in, and I was mad, sad,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until we had his funeral, and they're reading off all the verses and doing all this shit, and then after it's all said and done, I got home, and like I said, I cracked a beer, and I was like, wait a fucking minute, and then I was like, what fucking plan? And I was like, "What do you mean?" And like, I was 18. I was
Right.
I was
Right.
just mad.
Right.
I was not fully developed into what I am now. Like if I was like whenever Kason was in the hospital, if I
Right.
did that at 18, being in the hospital for like 3 fucking months, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't have kept my fucking composure the way I did when I was 29, 30 years old.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, at 18.
No, I
Yeah,
hear
like
you.
18. Like if I had to do with Kason at 18, it would have been a whole different outcome.
Right.
And so that's when I sat there and I started doubting. And that's when I was like, this shit's not real.
Yeah.
It's not everybody dies. They're put in the fucking ground. You're gone.
Right.
It's just an empty fucking carcass sitting there.
Right.
And I'll tell you what fixed that is Hayden was born a year later. And I remember we went through the whole process, and you could get the gown on, and the mom's already in there. She had a C-section, and the nurse walks up to me. And she's like, "Dad, she's like, Dad, are you ready?" And I was like, "No." And she's like,
Huh.
"Why?" And well, I went and talked to my mom and my stepdad first.
Right. Said I'm not ready.
And she's like, what's going on? And I was like, I feel like something's wrong.
Scared.
And she was like, hold your arms out. I was like, I don't want to. And she was like, just hold your arms out. And I'm talking. And she was like, what's
shaking
wrong
like
with
a dog shitting a
and
peach seed.
I said, I was here a year ago. Not here. I was at a hospital a year ago, and I came home with an empty car seat. And she's like, it's gonna be fine. I remember Hayden was born. She come out, got her all cleaned
Looked
up.
like a little alien.
Yeah, she
covered in goo.
Came out, was all cleaned up, and she started crying. And they're like, Dad, she's fine. And then they're like, well, she gets sewed up. Do you want to come with us? And we'll get her all cleaned up, and we'll get her in an outfit.
Isn't that fun?
And so, I'm watching because I was 19, almost, I was young, and I was like, yeah. For people, you can fucking judge me all you want to.
Nah, ain't nobody judging.
But
you're getting all up in your feels now.
We went. I literally didn't even say bye to my ex-wife at the time. I just walked out.
I've been there
because I think she knew what was going on.
Right.
So we get back there, and I'm got Hayden all balled up, and I'm fucking holding her, and it was like at that point everything I had doubted went away.
Yeah,
and I was like, holy shit, like this is real now.
Yeah.
Like because I got to hold my son. I can tell you for a matter of fact, I got to hold my firstborn, my son, twice. Just twice. That was it. Day 3 and day 7. And day 9, I guess, but that was because he's basically gone. Here you go.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And with Hayden, I remember we're sitting there in the recovery room, and we just bottle fed Hayden because we didn't.
Right.
And Autumn's like, well, can I see her? And I'm like, yeah, I held her up there. And she's like, can I hold her? And I said, fuck no, you can't.
Not
and
now.
I went and sat back down.
No.
And everyone said this to me. I remember because, like, the next day.
How many days did it take you to put her down?
The next day. Like, everyone came in, and they're, like, wanting to see her, and I wouldn't let go.
No,
I slept with Hayden.
Yeah.
She was, because, our room had 2 beds.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think you need to let people start holding Hayden. And I said, the fuck I do.
No, I don't have to.
I was like, I'm not letting go of her.
No.
And I remember my mom's like, Cody, you're going to let me hold that fucking baby. And I was like, fine, you have 2 minutes. And I've never been more scared in my life than watching that baby get passed around. Because I was just like, I was watching. I was like, I swear to fucking
Guard dog.
God.
Drop her. Dare
After that, it went. I mean, the twins are preemies now. I didn't feel that crazy, tense feeling until Kason. when she got sick.
Yeah.
And I remember, I will say, after my son was born, I get there's different types of PTSD.
Yeah.
And it was after I got smashed, after my son passed away and I was smashed. That was when my ex-wife was pregnant with Hayden.
Right.
My cousin had surgery at Children's Mercy. Well, we were close then. Molly was like 11, 12. No, she's about to graduate.
Right.
And she wanted me to go because I was close to Molly then. You know, older I got, it distanced itself.
Right.
And I'm turning into 2 episodes. By
No,
the
you're
way.
good. You're good.
And then I had walked into Children's Mercy. Like they asked me to go, and I was like, "Well, where's it at?" They're like Children's Mercy, and I was like, "Which one?" They're like downtown. I was like, "Oh fuck."
Oh, ain't been in there in a minute.
I ain't been in there in a while. And they're like, well, you know, because after my son passed away, he has a plaque on, or he has a picture on a wall, like, because they have
Right.
they have a memorial wall, shit like that.
Right.
And I didn't go to that service thing. I didn't do any of that because I just didn't want to be there. And I was like, I'll go. And granted, I was in an ace wrap with my arm wrapped around my body, with a sling pulled up to my fucking chest, wrapped around this fucking way, hopped up on fucking Oxycontin, and I was like, okay, I'll go for Molly because she wanted me to go. And I shit you not, you can ask my uncle Glenn. We walked in, we parked in the parking lot, you know, the underground parking lot.
Right.
Went up the elevator. I stepped off that elevator, and it fucking hit me. And you ever seen those shows like when they walk out of the elevator, it's a flashback. They're like, oh, it's like 5 years ago, and they're seeing like, that's what hit me. I just started walking, and we didn't even have to go where I was walking. We had to go up to OR to get for because hers was a broken arm. Bro, I was at the kidney center. Like I was up to NICU kidney, and he's like, he followed me because he thought I knew where I was going because I'd been there.
You knew where to go or where you've been.
I went by the coffee shop. I fucking went and checked in, got my fucking badge. Didn't even have to get my name tag. Just told him who I was there with, walked through there, and I was going by the cafeteria going up those fucking pink elevators.
Yeah.
And he's like, where are we going? And I was like, we're going to NICU. He's like, why? And I'm like, wait, oh, fuck. I was like, we're not here for that. He's like, I'm confused. And we went back down and went all the way to OR and went, or orthopedic. And went up the elevators as soon as you come off. Yeah, it was like...
You know what's funny?
It was weird.
You say that. So my oldest is 20. He'll be 22 next month. We did the same thing.
Yeah.
He had brain surgery at 1.5 years old.
Yeah.
I spent 9 months up there in that hospital. Oh, yeah, we're going to have another one. But I spent 9 months in that hospital.
Yeah.
And so I got to know every nook and cranny just like you.
Yeah.
I would get
I will say, coolest cafeteria ever.
Yeah.
The fucking train cart you can sit in. Oh yeah.
But I mean,
that bitch.
he was in that NICU unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew right where it was at. I knew every nook and cranny in it. So Rid had issues with his elbow. My youngest. And wow. You're gonna get me in my feels. So I'd been there for 9 months with Dylan. Got out, you know, he's 22 years old now. I have not been back to that hospital on Gillum until just last year.
Did you see the cool new fucking building?
Yeah.
So the top view from above looks like a DNA strand.
Really?
It's a fucking cool. That is the coolest place ever.
So we walk in, and just like you said, it's one of them, like all your emotions hit all at once.
We come out of forever.
I hadn't either.
Yeah.
We come out of that parking garage, and I'm going to tell you what's weird. The reason I felt that way, the weirdest part of it. So we come inside, and just like you said, we get off the elevator, and Courtney goes, I don't know where we're supposed to go. I'm like, I got you. We go in, we check in right there by the coffee shop.
Yep.
We get on the elevator, we go up to purple level. I knew right where we needed to go because he had to have an MRI done on his elbow. And Dylan had to have, my kid is 22 years old.
Yeah.
My oldest. And he's had 45 MRIs.
Right.
I know this by heart because we had to have 2 every year. He's 22 years old. We had to have 2 every year up until he was 21. to make sure that the part of the tumor that he had that they couldn't do because it was covered in blood vessels.
Yeah.
We had to make sure that it wasn't growing or moving or anything. But it made me think about it earlier when you were talking about the team of doctors.
Oh, fuck.
Like when they come in and told us he had to have brain surgery at 1.5 years old, I've got a neurosurgeon, an oncologist,
Mm-hmm.
anesthesiologist.
Fucking, yeah.
I've got all these guys.
You got your
because,
vein doctors, your
yeah,
blood
because they're
doctors,
thinking
your yeah.
it could be cancer, it could not be. It's a
Yeah.
brain tumor. We don't know what we're doing. And the neurosurgeon looked right at me and he goes, "Well, I just want you to know your son's going to be my first." And I lost my shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's your problem?" I said, "My kid is not a guinea pig." He goes, "No, no, no. Your son's going to be my first at this hospital."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He was the head over the neurology department in Chicago.
Yeah.
This dude was the dude.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't have got more lucky. Once again, that was God. I got the best neurosurgeon on the planet.
I will say, speaking of that, there's a nurse that worked there when my son did, and her name was Liz. And I remember I had got there before his mom did.
Right.
So I got, you had to sign the book and you had to
Right.
go back in there. And I walked up to him. They told me where he was. I walked, because, back then, I don't know if you guys said, you had to fucking scrub in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you had to go in that little room.
No, we didn't have to do that. You had to do that because of COVID.
No, he was born in 2010.
Oh.
So they wanted you to go into this
Oh,
room.
yeah. Yeah, to go in the NICU unit, you had
yeah,
to scrub in and
yeah,
put
you had to
scrubs on.
Well, no, I had to put scrubs on. I had to go in and scrub from my fingertips to my elbows. And then there was a tent you stood in and it sprayed you.
No, I had to, when
And-
Dylan was in, of course, I don't know how many years ago that's been.
So my son would be 14. So
It'll
that
be
might
20.
have been, that might have been before. There might
Yeah,
have been.
20 years ago,
Yeah.
we had to wear, in the NICU unit, we had to wear scrubs.
Was that like prime swine flu season shit? Maybe.
You know, I really don't remember.
There had to be something medical wise going on for that.
Yeah.
All we had to do was go in, scrub from our fingertips to our elbows, and then we got this spray shit, and it like disinfected you because of all the kids.
So I can only hope that this somehow, that's the best part of this, filming all this. I can only hope somehow, someday, somehow, some way, this gets to a lady that lives in Iowa. And I'm gonna be
Yeah, that's where I was going with that too.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm upset that I can't remember her name. And I honestly, it's been 22 years or 21 years. I can't remember his name either. I've never felt more selfish in my whole life, and I didn't even mean to be that guy.
Yep.
And that's where, when we took Rid up there to get his MRI, when I walked in them doors, I never expected to feel that feeling again.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected to be
It's a rush
so
of like
consumed
emotions.
with
It's fucking
emotions.
Wild.
All I could think about when we walked in that door, my son spent 9 months in that hospital.
Yeah.
The day we found out that he was okay, and he was getting out of the NICU unit, and he was going to his own room, and that we were going to go home in 5 days. That's what they told us, 5 days. They took him out of that unit and into his own room. I had been 13 weeks without a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
It's the longest I'd ever been in my whole life. And as soon as we found out he had a brain tumor, I started smoking again. And I think I smoked a whole pack that first day.
Yeah.
But I went down every day to this one little area, because that was back in the good old days when it had a smoking section. And you weren't the devil for trying to go smoke a
You
cigarette.
just have to walk across that little entranceway.
Well, this was right outside between the main entrance and the parking garage.
Yeah.
And they had a little fenced off area. I went down there every day. And I got to meet this gal. And I'll never forget her. I wish I could remember her name. Her son is what she called him. Was her grandson. His mom was her daughter. Never been around. Had him bugged out. She was on the drugs, whatever. She raised this boy.
I'm turning the heater off.
Okay.
I'm warm. She
She raised this little boy. And she called him her son. He called her mom. And I went down. I saw her every day, talked to her. We talked about how her boy was doing, how my boy was doing. Her boy had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is bad stuff. Wrong switch. And he had been in remission for years. Well, he finally come back. I guess he had a yearly checkup where they'd come in and check him and make sure everything was still good.
Mm-hmm.
Come in that one time and he was like I think he was 9 or 10 years old. He was completely infested.
Oh, shit.
It had went from he was fine to he had cancer everywhere. And they were just coming for a checkup. And they ended up being there the whole 9 months we were there. And I felt so horrible because I come down and she's like, well, how's Dylan? And I told her.
Crazy
I was
how
like,
close you get to people there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I told her, I said, he's good. Everything's looking great. I said, actually, we're getting to go to our own room tomorrow. I said, and from what I gather, in the next 5 days, we're going to go home. And I can't even make this up. I looked right at her and I said the little boy's name. I said, how is he? And she said, he passed away this morning.
Oh, fuck.
I have never felt more like a heel in my whole life. I had just told her
all the
this
good news. Yeah.
whole story about how Dylan's made a full recovery. Everything's great. We're going home tomorrow. It's all good. And then she drops it on me. And I felt like a total piece of shit because I just told her all this good news and all she'd had that whole day was bad news. I didn't know what else to say. And I stood there and I hugged this lady that I only knew because of that hospital.
Yep.
For a solid 20 minutes and cried with her and felt like I knew that little boy. And I only knew him for 9 months, but because of whatever kind of cancer, I'm pretty sure it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but the kind he had, they had him in quarantine because anything that he could possibly get would make him worse. Well, they did the same thing with Dylan because he had a brain tumor, so he was susceptible to infection. So they had both of them in the burn unit.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I cannot tell you how freaking awesome the burn unit is at Children's Mercy. Those people are absolutely amazing. My dad brought his Weimaraner dog, brought him right in the hospital, and they're like, is that a service dog? And Dad goes, yeah, he's a service dog, because he was my son's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, he's a service dog. That was the brightest spot on the whole planet for all them little kids that was in that burn unit and in quarantine. We'd walk Mo in, and he was the sweetest dog on the planet. He would lay down and let those kids crawl all over him and pull his ears and pull his tail and flick him in the balls. He didn't care. He would lay there and let those kids do whatever.
Yeah.
But as soon as we walked in that hospital last year, well, it's last year now. It doesn't feel like it because it's just this early into 24. We walked in that hospital and all that shit hit me at once. Wow. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything. And I don't think my wife even really noticed because I just tried to keep it to myself. We got in the waiting room and Rid was kind of nervous. I didn't even realize it because Dylan's had so many MRIs. I don't even think anything about an MRI.
Yeah.
You crawl in a tube, they take a scan. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's just what you do. And Rid got kind of nervous, and I'm like, buddy, what's the matter? And he goes, is this going to hurt? I'm like, no, it's not going to hurt.
You're not going to feel anything.
I said, you're going to lay in a tube. It's like a culvert, and it's super loud. I said, but you'll have headphones on. And I said, because you're doing it at this hospital, I said, you can watch a movie. Yeah. He's like, shut up, really? And I just, out of reaction, reached up and grabbed a deal out of the little folder on the wall and handed it to him. He goes, what's this? I said, it's a menu. And he goes, of what? I said, movies. Yeah. Start looking through it and decide what you want to watch. He goes, are you serious? And the nurse come in about that time and she goes, hey, we have a menu of movies if you'd like to watch one. I said, he's already got it. She's like, oh, look at Dad go. And I'm thinking, lady, I've been here.
Then my first rodeo.
I've been here.
Yeah.
And so he got changed out and put in his scrubs and started back toward the MRI unit. And I sat there in the I'll never forget this. And my wife probably doesn't even remember it. But I sat in that waiting room with my earbuds in, watching TikToks or YouTube or something. Dude, if I hadn't had a hat on, she would have thought I was a total bitch.
Yeah.
I know I cried the whole time we were in there.
Let
I
me
just
see.
didn't make eye contact with her. That building has such a heavy energy for me because I spent so much time there and seen so many bad things happen there. I just can't do it anymore.
I don't have the picture. So
I mean, granted, mine's not near as
Yeah.
traumatic as yours.
shout
Mine
out
ended
to
in a happy ending.
There's a nurse there. I remember to go back. I was letting you go down your deal. Here, first off, I'm taking this shot.
Make sure and
Um,
stir it.
Yeah. First off,
Here's the hospitals.
yeah. No shit.
I just want to say before we go too far, this was not expected to get in our feels,
None of this was.
and I'm totally there.
It was day 1 of my kid. I had got there. They had told me
I wish
that
you'd quit calling him your kid. What was his name?
Kindon.
Okay.
He got there and they said that whenever he arrived, because he flew by helicopter,
Right.
and Fox tried to get me in the helicopter, but the helicopter he went in, if it was a normal one, it'd have been different. His was like a NICU copter,
Right.
and there's no room in there. Like they showed me when we
Well,
walked
you had
him out
too many,
there.
probably too many
Well, he was like one of
machines and
them-
everything.
Yeah, like there was no room. They were like, we would gladly take you, but there's no room. And I got up there. I finally got to go. They finally come out and said he's ready for you to see him now. I walked back there, and the nurse that was taking care of him, because he was in like a little pod thing. This nurse took care of like 3 or 4 of them. And I walked in there, and she's like, "Hi, how are you?" And I said, "Good." You know, I had my band on, I had my
Right.
fucking sticker on, and she goes, "Well, which one's yours?" And they had the things on the front. And I was like, "He's right there." I walked over there, and I was looking at him, and 'cause I didn't get to see him much when he was
Right.
born because of all the issues.
Right.
And she's like, "Question." I said, "What?" She goes, "Are you having any doubts?" I said, "On?" And she goes, "If he's yours." And I said,
Huh.
I said, "I've been told things." And before I could say anything else, she goes, "Say ah." And I said, "What?" And she went, "Whoop," and swabbed the inside of my mouth. Reached over and swabbed his and said, "You'll find out in 20 minutes." And I was like,
Why?
I mean, I had been told things like rumors, the small town.
Yeah, but why? Why did that nurse do that?
Because she said, "Do you have doubts?" And I said, "Well, I've been told things." And so she's like, "I'm going to fix your problem." Like she was just trying to fix your problem. So within 20 minutes, I received a letter. Like it was delivered to her.
He's definitely yours.
He's mine. And
Was that more so if in case he needed
it was
some kind of a
I think it was one of those, if I wasn't allowed to be back there.
really?
I'm guessing. I wasn't told for sure. I'm assuming if I wasn't the biological
See, and I
father,
kind of wondered if
I
it
would have had
wasn't
to have been.
in case he needed some kind of transfusion or
No.
or organ or
Um,
something.
We
They wanted to
found
make
out
sure.
I was a 100% match with him.
Really?
So whatever he needed, I could have gave him. Trust me, I'll get to that story in a minute.
Mhm.
And she goes, "Hi, I'm Liz." That was when she introduced herself. I was like, "Well, thank you."
Hey, Liz.
And the doctor goes, then, about 30 minutes later, I had left all my family members who came with me out there.
Yeah.
And all the doctors come in, did their rounds, started asking questions. And Liz goes, she looks at me and goes, "Is mom here yet?" And I said, "No, she's not." And she goes, "Question, are you married?" I said, "No, we're not." And she looked at the doctors and goes, "You're not asking any questions until mom gets here." And the doctor goes, "Excuse me?" There's a whole team of them.
Right.
And she goes, "Until mom is here and they can make a decision together, there will be no questions. He's stable. He's fine. Come back when she gets here."
Really?
And I looked at her and
I don't know who
and-
this lady
and
is, but I
said-
love her already.
I said, "Can I tell you something?" And she said, "Yes, you can. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me." And I was like, "You're a bitch and I love it." And she goes, "Then we're going to get along just fine because I don't put up with nothing in this hospital.
That's
I do
awesome.
my job."
That's
And
awesome.
from that fucking point on, I loved her.
Yeah.
She didn't, if me or his mom were not comfortable together, like on the same
She'd
subject,
take you apart and talk to you
no,
separate.
she would not agree to anything.
Really?
If I was like, we should do this, and his mom was like, I think, what about this? She would go, I'm not giving an answer until it's a combined yes or a yes or a no, and she would just walk off.
That's awesome.
And through the whole time, she would always come by and check in. Well, I
Yeah.
remember, like I said, with my cousin Molly when she was up there, I had went to the front desk and I was, that check-in desk, and I was like,
Right.
"Can you do me a favor?" And she's like, or the guy's like, "What's up, buddy?" I was like, "Is Liz and Nikki working?" He said, "Why?" And I explained what was going on, and he was like,
Right.
"I'll look." And he looked, and she was working. I was like, "What do you think the odds of me talking to her are?" He's like, "Well, let's see."
A little bit
And
against policy, but
so I went up to the NICU floor. You know,
right.
you could go up and you walk out and go to the
Yeah.
left, because
Oh yeah.
you go to the right. I can't
Yeah.
remember what's to the right.
That's burn unit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
yeah,
where
yeah.
Dylan went from the NICU unit to the burn unit.
Oh
It's all
yeah.
right there on
Yeah.
the same deal.
And so I walked out to the left and I waited, and those doors opened up, and she walked out and she just shook her head and she was like, "Oh, you've grown."
Ah.
And I was like, "You remember me?" And she goes, "I remember everybody."
Oh, I bet.
And I was like, "What's my name?" And she said, "It's Cody."
There's a special
And I
place
was
in
like,
heaven
"Son
for
of a
some of those
bitch!"
women.
I mean, like, she knew me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn!" And she asked how I was doing and everything, and I showed her pictures of Hayden and everything, and she's like, "Oh wow!" And I was like, "I know." I was like, "It helped a lot." And she stayed like the whole 9 days he was in there. She would come by, and she had no because like after he got moved from that little pod, he went to a different pod, and then a different pod, and then to the to the dreaded fucking family room. You don't ever go to the fucking family room.
Nobody wants to go to the family
And
room.
Liz, and I believe her name was Katie. She was a blonde haired girl. And I don't understand how them fucking nurses do it. Because, they tell them, like, when they're training them, you can't get connections.
No.
But they do.
Oh yeah.
And so then fast forward years later with Kaysen, it was it was weird because Kaysen was born during COVID.
Right.
Kaysen was born September of COVID. So
That's the one I'm thinking of when you was telling me about Kaysen being in there and you guys had to sit in those quarantine rooms.
we went into there and we walked in because Kaysen was brought up by us to
Right.
Children's Mercy South.
Right.
That's where we were told to go. She was taken by ambulance to Children's Mercy
From
North.
south to the main one on Gillum.
And then we walk in and the nurse goes, "She's in there. You have to go this way." We had to follow this little fucking tunnel, go into a room, and
Which is such bullshit.
well, at the time we understood. I mean, at the
I
time,
know, but looking back at it now,
yeah. Oh
it's
yeah,
bullshit.
And then we had to have our temperature checked, do all this other testing bullshit. Then we went into a glass room.
Yeah.
That we walked in, and all the doctors and nurses are wearing the fucking suits and the masks, and like I'm talking like you see like radiation suits. Yeah,
IVAC suits.
they're wearing those.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, this is COVID protocol, yada yada yada.
Dumb.
So we stayed in that room until our COVID tests come back. Well, they had asked if we were hungry. They put our fucking tray in a glass thing and shut one side, and we had to open the other side to get stuff out.
So not
after
cool.
that, we were told when Kaysen got moved from that area to her actual little room, we were told you cannot leave the property,
or you have to have another COVID
or
test
you have
and
to go back through it again. So we stayed in the hospital, slept on them fucking couches or recliners, just like whatever you could find, because there's a lot of people in there for COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember when Kaysen got moved to her own room, and they came in there and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna be doing all this testing. It was meningitis, E. coli based, yada yada yada. They're like, it's severe. Like she's gonna be in here a while." And I looked at that. I looked at that doctor and I said, "Ma'am," I said, "I hate to say this," I said, "but I've lost one child in this hospital. I'm not doing it again."
Yeah, no.
I said, "I need you to promise me I'm going to take her home." And she goes, "I will get your daughter home." And I said, "Okay." And
That's
then
all I need.
it was weird because my mom, shout out to my mom and Ashley, my old lady now, they were taking care of my kids, and they had jobs, they had things going on.
Right.
I mean, and I remember I was trying to show you a picture. So you know where that desk is? You check in by the coffee shop.
Mhm.
You walk down that hallway.
Mhm.
There's the wall, the timeline wall.
Mhm.
I was walking. I went for a walk one day. Went and got coffee. I was just walking around. It was early morning. I walked by that wall and something caught my eye. I knew where Kendon's picture was. He was on the memorial wall, on the other side.
Right.
I stopped and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I looked, and there's on the timeline wall. You look at 2010. There's a picture of him and a doctor. The doctor is like checking him, and it's him. I said, "Where the fuck did that picture come from?" Like I've never seen that picture before. I mean, I've seen it, like,
Really?
and I was like, that's my kid. He's on the timeline wall, and it describes what had happened, what they were, doing, yada yada yada. And I was like, I I've never seen this before. I don't know how long it's been there. And so I took a picture and sent it to my mom and my old lady and a bunch of people. And my mom goes, "Oh my God, that's Kendon." And I was like, "I don't remember this." And my mom goes, "We were never told that," which I don't care.
Right.
I mean, like, he could have helped because I remember this lady from our town, her daughter had some issues,
Mhm.
kidney, liver stuff, and she came out of it. By the way, she's all over that hospital.
Really?
Yeah. I remember whenever Casey was in the hospital and I went to the gift shop, they had a huge thing for her in there.
Really?
And I was like, "Oh, I know her." Like, I mean, because hers was right after Kendon was born.
Right.
And um I was like, "I don't remember that picture being taken." They're like, "Well, I'm sure they took pictures." I mean, because it was a part of like a milestone thing of them trying to figure something out.
Right.
And I was like, "That's kind of cool." Like
Yeah.
my kid is like, because like each like it was like 2000 and like 5, 2009, 2010. Like it was like milestone things that they were like
Right.
experimenting with or fixing. And I'm like,
Right.
that's my kid on that wall. And I remember calling my old lady Ashley, and I was like, "Babe, kind of happy." She's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "He could have." And I didn't tell you this yet. I was like, he could have fixed a lot of things.
Oh,
And
he could have saved a whole
I
bunch of
remember
kids just from
I
the
remember after he passed away, I went out in the hallway, and then you got paperwork to sign. And for
Yeah.
anyone asking, I walked my son to the morgue in Children's Mercy. I carried a bag, a zipped up bag, to an elevator, straight down like 9 flights of fucking what felt like floors
Mhm.
to a freezing fucking cold area
Yeah.
and set him on a table. And I remember we got back up there, everyone's like kind of leaving, doing their thing, and I was like, I was like, everyone comes up, we need you to sign this and sign this and sign this. And his mom kind of was like, "I need to leave." I'm like, "That's fine. You go do your thing." Like, because she had signed over that I could make decisions without her.
Right.
And lady come up to me and she's like, "I have a question for you." I was like, "What's that?" She's like, "Do you ever thought about donating his organs?" And I've always been an organ donor. I've
Right.
done stupid, reckless shit, riding bikes, riding four-wheelers,
Right.
riding whatever. If someone can use my shit
Yeah.
to, to, to,
More
to,
power to him.
to keep going, that's fine. So I called. This is when cell phones were kind of like, smartphones just kind of came out. And I was like, "Hey, they want to, talk about donating organs." And she was like, you just do whatever you think's right. And I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "Yes, you can." Well, come to find out, every one of his heart valves were donated. And
Really?
um what else was there was one other thing that was donated. And he saved 4 kids' lives for his.
So see,
And I was like,
there's
"That's
that
cool."
bigger
Well,
bigger
it
picture.
didn't hit me until the next year, because after your kid passes away in a hospital, you get phone calls, you get letters, you get everything. Like,
Right.
then when he gets on the memorial wall, they want you to come up for the ceremony with all these other parents. I'm like, I don't want to
Oh,
sit in a room full of other
that's too much.
parents
Yeah. I
and
couldn't do it.
everybody grieving, and then how everybody wants to talk and tell stories. And I was like, I don't want to go.
No.
So we didn't go. And I remember I got my grandma. My mail was still going to her house, and I had got a bunch of letters. She's like, "You have a bunch of mail here." I went to my grandma's house and I sat down and I opened up one. I didn't recognize the name, nothing.
Thank you, letter.
No. I opened it up, and it was a fucking family Christmas photo of two people holding a baby.
That your son
That
had
it
saved.
was said, thank you, and your son saved our daughter's life. And I'm like, holy shit.
I'd have lost it.
And I stayed in contact with them for probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I'd have lost it.
I got Christmas cards and birthday cards and pictures, everything. And I was like, yes, something that was in my life was tragic, but
how many
he
did it?
saved 4
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
And I was like, so, and I was young. I was like, maybe he just took one for the team. He was
Yeah.
like, maybe I can stop my pain, but I can help these kids' pain.
I'm telling you, when I know it's a cliche and it's kind of a
I have to pee.
it's kind of an overused term. I do too. Let's take a break.
Okay.
But before we do, that whole there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
There's a bigger plan.
Yeah.
There is.
Oh.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, that's totally part of it. Okay, now we can go pee.